25 laps. Will it be Chris Buescher, the points leader? We'll have to find out. And now we go trackside for our pre-race ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you direct your attention to the starter's bridge as the Wisconsin National Guard Recruiting and Retention Command present our nation's colors. On Monday, we lost a member of our extended motorsports family, driver Justin Wilson. Justin's versatility and skill behind the wheel of a race car and the warmth he showed fellow competitors and race fans alike made him a beloved figure throughout racing. We ask that you join us in a moment of silence in memory of a true racer and friend, Justin Wilson. Thank you. Please remain standing as Lonnie Klaus from Motor Racing Outreach offers today's invocation.
Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, we pause before this race to acknowledge you. In the midst of this chaotic and confused world, we thank you that you are still on your throne and that you love each and every one of us. I ask today that our nation would seek after you as you're the only true source of hope and peace. And Lord, we give you thanks for this opportunity to watch this Xfinity race here at the beautiful Road America facility. We ask for your protection on each and every person involved with this event. You are a good, good God, and we thank you and praise you. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Joining us to perform our national anthem, please welcome Christy Sadek.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And the drivers will be climbing in behind the wheels of their cars. Hello, everyone. Once again, I'm Rick Allen alongside Frank Stoddard and Hall of Fame driver Dale Jarrett. Now, when we come to a racetrack like this, you wouldn't think that we'd have to worry about weather. Will we have to worry about weather, and how will it affect this race?
Well, we may have to worry about weather late in the day, but right now, I promise you, there's 40 crew chiefs with a huge weight lifted off their shoulder, because right now, it's going to be dry tires, a normal race for them. So they're very happy about that right now.
Okay, how about the big three and the championship race right now that we have between Buescher and Elliott and Ty Dillon?
Yeah, no mistakes is going to be the key today. Whether it's the drivers on the racetrack, staying on track, making sure that you don't get off in the grass, may cost you a lap, a lot of spots, a lot of points. Also, don't make a mistake speeding on pit road or the crew doing something that's going to put you at the tail end of the longest line or cost you a lap here today. So the biggest thing is for all of these drivers battling for the championship is just do your job.
No mistakes. They're strapping in. That's Kenny Habul looking for his first win in the Xfinity Series. Will we have a first-time winner? We'll fire the engines when we come back.
There's a little contact in the carousel.
Welcome to NBCSN's coverage of NASCAR Xfinity Series racing from Road America. Clouds starting to break up. The sun beginning to shine down on this little over 4-mile racetrack. What can we expect now that the conditions have changed?
Chaos.
We still can see chaos.
Listen, guaranteed chaos in turn 1 right off the bat. And here's the thing that these guys got to be careful about right off the bat is we're talking about the fact that this racetrack is all dry, 100% dry all the way around here. But if you get off the race course, it is not 100% dry.
Yeah, and there's still going to be some patches out there that these drivers are going to have to make sure that they don't get in with these slick tires that they, or the slicks that they have on, and make sure that they do their job properly and get this race started. But there could be rain later on.
At the end of 2 straightaways, we will see speeds upwards of 170 miles an hour. Before they get to those speeds, we've got to fire the engines. So let's go trackside for today's command.
Road America fans, this is the moment you've been waiting for. Here to give the command to start engines, please welcome the Grand Marshal for today's Road America 180, fired up by Johnsonville, the Vice President of Manufacturing for Johnsonville, Steve Johnson.
Road America, are you ready? Drivers, start your engines.
I hear Nick and he just fine.
40 cars have come to life. When we come back, they'll be moving around this just over 4-mile road course. Who will be up front in the end? About to find out.
The class of the field all afternoon. Carl Edwards, the crowd waving him to victory.
This is the last place I thought I went, but we'll take it.
It was an absolute comedy of errors, but it's just indicative of how desperate these drivers are going to get when there is a green-white checkered finish.
I knew I could do it. It was just a matter of being with the right team and with the right people, the right organization.
A flawless afternoon for one Nelson Piquet.
Try not to be a big baby and cry on TV.
NASCAR win #1 for A.J. Allmendinger.
Roger, if you're watching, I love you. Thank you, baby.
Chase Elliott trying to nose out in front of Brendan Gaughan off turn 1.
I tried to give this race away 3 times today, and I'm fully embarrassed I was not focused enough.
Brendan Gaughan with the crossover move takes the lead.
Such a great feeling after 10 years. I'm so happy. I don't know how to tell you.
5 previous races, 5 different winners, and the last 2 very emotional in victory lane. Today's aerial coverage provided by our partners at Smithfield Foods. Because the fog has lifted, there are going to be some great pictures that we'll be able to follow around and watch the drivers. Want to take a look at our starting grid. It was set based upon the first practice from yesterday because qualifying was canceled. Ben Rhodes and Chase Elliott making up row #1. Ben Rhodes, it's his best career start, his 3rd Xfinity road course start.
I really like row 2 here. Ryan Blaney, his first road course start in an Xfinity car, but he did win in the Truck Series at Canada last year, and young Justin Marks, an exceptional road racer.
Yeah, in row 3, we've got our points leader, Chris Buescher's been outstanding on the road courses. Won at Mid-Ohio last year. Can he have another good day?
Back in row 4, a couple of veterans, Boris Said and Paul Menard. Paul Menard's hometown of Eau Claire, Wisconsin, just 240 miles northwest of here.
Row 5, the KG veteran Elliott Sadler with a rookie, Daniel Suarez, in top Joe Gibbs equipment that's had 2 top 15 finishes on the road courses already this season.
The man that's been at the center of controversy in the first 2 road races, Regan Smith, but he did win at Mid-Ohio just a few weeks ago.
And one of the guys he's been in that controversy with is in row 7. Just works out that way. Ty Dillon, top 5 finishes in both road course races this season.
Row 8, one of the top road races in the country, Andy Lally making his start this year. But Brendan Gaughan, last year's winner here, is someone to watch.
See, in row 9, Darrell Wallace Jr. has found these road courses to be a little bit of a challenge, but he did finish in the top 10 at Mid-Ohio.
Back in row 10, Ryan Sieg starting 20th, finished 14th in both road course races already this season.
Row 11, J.J. Yaley, one of the underfunded teams, but came back and finished 5th in this race here last year, and Blake Cook.
Row 12, we've got a young man making his first career Xfinity start, Lawson Alsenbach. Should be a great day for him.
How about Michael Self back in row 13? 3 career starts, 2 of them came on road courses.
Row 14, David Starr and Eric McClure, two Xfinity veterans, but David Starr only his third road course start.
Row 15, we've got Tommy Dreese. He's made this will be his 9th career start, all on the road courses.
Back in row 16, guys that are making their first series start here, Cale Conley and Ross Chastain.
Row 17, it's all about the road course ringers, Kevin O'Connell and Tim Cowan.
Back in row 18, we've got former Daytona 500 winner Derek Cope.
And back in 19, Roger Roos, third career starts. All of his starts have come on road courses. This is his first start here at Road America.
Row 20, Morgan Shepherd. Who can't like this guy? A racer for over 6 decades in this sport. And young Stanton Barrett, who actually had a problem with his tailgate yesterday, getting his truck out, getting his car out of the transporter, and he's on the grid here today.
Should be interesting to watch all 40 of those drivers. We'll ride along with a few of them, including Kenny Habul in the 20. He has the Sun Energy 1 in-car camera. He starts 14th today. Boris Said has the Toyota onboard camera. He will start 7th. Boris also with a foot cam. We'll be able to watch his feet during today's race. Points leader Chris Buescher carries the Ford EcoBoost in-car camera. He'll start 6th. And up in the front row, Chase Elliott with the Xfinity onboard camera. An incredible season already for points leader Chris Buescher. We want to look back at how it has gotten to this point where he has a 19-point lead over Ty Dillon, who's second.
The race ultimately came down to a restart. Did it play out the way you anticipated?
It went better.
Chris Buescher does get the best start. Off the corner he comes. He's cleared the field.
That was nerve-wracking at the end. We knew we were really good, and we just had to have something fall our way.
Checkered flag, his first win of the year.
Oh, yeah, yeah!
Battle for the lead, teammates. Here comes Chris Buescher to the inside.
It's my teammate, so I can't really say much. Just run over me, and he happens to end up winning, so it should be interesting Monday morning.
That's real nice trying to save fuel, so appreciate that, 60 team.
These things are too hard to come by. You can't be too nice because they'll pass you by, and then you'll be sitting there thinking, what if?
Teammates getting together. Chris Buescher passing Bubba Wallace.
Oh, that was nerve-wracking.
And with 11 races to go, Chris Buescher is the points leader. Let's see if we can chat with the 22-year-old out of Prosper, Texas. He'll start 6th today, DJ.
Hey, Chris Buescher, Dale Jarrett, you have a copy?
You have it. Just make sure we're both paying attention to it. Yeah, it's 10-4. Top of the hill there. Pretty easy to see coming out of 14. 10-4.
Hey, Chris, Dale Jarrett, you have a copy?
I got you in and out of the trees right here. In and out of the trees. And lose you for good there.
And right now they're getting communication back and forth between driver and spotters. There's multiple spotters here. They have 6 spotters, anywhere from 5 to 6 spotters around this racetrack. So they're trying to figure out exactly when they will be giving advice or information to these drivers. So we'll try to talk to him when we come back from commercial, but we'll be seeing the green flag next here at Road America. This weekend, the Xfinity drivers have the track to themselves. The series makes its final road course appearance of the season at Road America. 40 drivers taking on the monster 4-mile, 14-turn circuit in hopes of reaching victory lane. The road course action in August has been heated, and Watkins Glen tempers flared between title contenders.
I might have lost the championship today, but he sure as hell did too. There's zero chance that Free Car wins this championship, and I want to make sure of it.
If he wants to do that, meet him in the bus line. We'll handle it. I'm not afraid.
In mid-Ohio, it all came down to a bump and run on the final lap.
Had a lot of opportunities to win, and it's been a long time. I had to do what I had to do right there.
It's just really unfortunate to win like that.
Today, championship leader Chris Buescher looks to stay atop the standings, while Ty Dillon and defending series champ Chase Elliott seek to close the gap. It's time to hit the road once again. The Xfinity Series at Road America is next. Welcome to Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. The NASCAR Xfinity Series taking on Road America. Let's go to the pits and Kelly Stavist.
Rick, twice this season, defending series champion Chase Elliott has had to dig his way out of a serious points deficit to get back in the championship hunt. Well, he's now third in points. That's partly due to his success on road courses. He's never finished outside the top 10 on these types of tracks. He says he just loves this type of racing. It's something he thinks he gets from his dad, Hall of Famer Bill Elliott, who's always been a fan of this type of racing. Dave Burns.
Kelly, a couple of years ago, Chris Buescher won an ARCA Series race here by being smart. On the final lap, guys blew past him in turn 5 trying to outbrake him, and he emerged as the only one that came out of the corner. He went on to win that day. It may be smart that gets him to victory here today versus fast. Rick?
Absolutely. Mike, go ahead.
Dave, a year ago, Brendan Gaughan's fate was largely dictated by weather and these tires. Under dry conditions with these slicks, he was subpar, got off the track twice. However, when it rained and he put on these tires, he was excellent. He's hoping he gets to put them on again, Rick.
And the green flag is in the air. The final road course race of the year. Road America as they dive into turn number 1. A very tight right-hander. How unnerving would that be? The last time they saw this racetrack, there was moisture all around. But now it's speeds going through these turns.
The young rookie Ben Rose did the right thing right there at the start. He went ahead and ceded the spot to Chase Elliott into turn 1, and he'll follow him a little bit and learn some things.
Yeah, I don't know if they had that plan, but Chase Elliott had a plan going into that corner that he was going to outbreak anybody and everybody, and did a nice job getting down in there.
Was able to keep it on track. Work into the left-hander. That is turn number 5. Now uphill to a blind left turn, turn 6.
Yeah, you have to be careful going into this turn 6. You can't see what you're approaching. The car gets a little bit light. You overshoot this corner, then you're off track, out into the grass possibly, and that could not be a good situation here today.
And if somebody checks up a little bit early there, it's hard. We got somebody in there already. Tommy Dreese.
Yep, already the 26 of Tommy Dreese.
That's going to
gravel pit.
That's going to bring a full course caution out. He's not going to get out of there.
Come on, man, I was taking it easy.
I was taking it easy, and yet he is now stuck. So overshot the turn.
Yeah, just what we were talking about. You know, it happens, and then you can see he's really under power there. If he could have got it stopped in time and not got in there, you think that you're able to get out, but all of a sudden you start spinning that right rear tire, and then it digs a hole.
Yeah, there was a lot of room. We saw guys in practice in that same corner drive straight, which is really right there. Oh, look at all that room. He should have just drove straight a little bit and then backed up. But being the racer, you're trying to always head down the course.
It's still we're under green flag condition. No caution until now. They have just thrown the yellow flag, so we are now under the first caution, and it didn't take a lap. Now, how about strategy-wise? We won't see anyone come onto pit road under this caution. They're going to wait until a green flag condition, probably 10 to 12 laps into this race.
We won't this year. Different deal from last year. It was a 50-lap race that NASCAR and the race promoter has shortened this by 5 laps this year. So last year you saw guys at lap 1, lap 2, 3, and 4 come down pit road. This year you're looking at lap 11 to 15, somewhere around there is going to be your first stop. And then just a 2-stop race for everybody.
Chase Elliott leads the first lap. The first lap completed under caution, though, again, because the 26 of Tommy Dreese stuck in the gravel pit. Welcome back to Road America 180, fired up by Johnsonville. NASCAR Mobile is the best way to follow your favorite drivers. You can build your own leaderboards, watch live in-car cameras, and listen to driver in-car audio. Go to NASCAR.com/mobile. I know we've only completed 1 lap, and we're on lap number 2, but there's already some early radio communication. This was Ben Rhodes moments ago.
Everything good. Car was a little tight on my left-handers, especially like turns 5 and 8, but it's all right. We'll just keep working and see what we can do.
Yeah, it may be a little early to be thinking about adjustment from that comment. You got to think. You got low air pressure. You've got a track that basically there's not a lot of tire rubber down on it right yet. And this may be something that just with the low air pressure condition that he may have to adjust his driving style until the air pressures get built up when you have restarts or after he's changed tires.
And And the one difficulty about the pit stop situation, when you've got it's just tight to the left right there, that for the crew chief, if you just adjust that to free that side up, you have to give up a little bit something on the road courses, because all of a sudden, you know, because it's not doing it to the right, you don't want to hurt your right-hand corners either.
A little bit surprising, this early communications, Dave.
Rick, he also apologized to his team for giving up the lead to Chase Elliott on that opening couple of corners. But I talked with his crew chief, Dave Ellens, just beforehand. This young 18-year-old having the pole here in an Xfinity Series race. And I asked him, what was the last thing you told the driver before you left the car? And he said, I told him it'll be okay. Just hang in there. It's not going to be made by one first turn or one lap. He said, we want you to be in there all day, and don't worry too much about it.
It will be okay. Well, pit road is open if we have any takers as they come off of turn 14 and back up in front of the grandstands. Chase Elliott faked going over there. You enter pit road from the right after you come off of turn 14. So we'll reset the field. They're still pulling the 26 out of the gravel pit, and we'll get the restart when we return. So still under caution, getting ready for the restart. They'll let them know that they will be going back to green when they get to turn 11, which is on the farthest straightaway from this front stretch. There's Ty Dillon.
Yeah, he started in the 13th spot, moved up to 9th, so he only had about 6-7 corners to make that happen, so made up 4 spots quickly. We've seen him be very aggressive on these road courses, and he's going to need to be that again today.
Coming into today, Ty Dillon, 19 points behind Chris Buescher. Buescher an even 800 points through 22 races. Chase Elliott just 23 points back. And remember, every position on the track is worth 1 point. So 19 spots on the track, and Ty Dillon was caught right up to Chris Buescher.
Think about how long we're going to see those 3 names top that in the sport of NASCAR racing, probably in the Sprint Cup Series, but young drivers with a lot of talent.
Kelly.
Rick, I guess on a 4-mile track, it's never too early to start saving fuel. Ernie Cope, crew chief for Chase Elliott there in that number 9 car, already telling Chase, save fuel all day today. So we have less to fill up when you make your stops. And as I talked to crew chiefs throughout the weekend, they all are preparing for at least 1 green, white checkered. Remember, 4 miles apiece. This race has only gone to the advertised distance 1 time. So they're all preparing for extra laps. In fact, 1 year, 3 green, white checkered attempts. You got to have a lot of fuel left in the tank for that.
Absolutely. And you've got to, strategy-wise, you have to look at this race from the back to the front. So you have to look back at the end of the race, which is 45 laps, and then try to, I guess where you need to come in for fuel, because there is the possibility of a green, white checker.
Well, the one thing I noticed, Rick, was a lot of these guys, you saw Chase Elliott as he's riding around, he's already saving fuel, so that when they do this first pit stop, the crew chief is going to have a great understanding of what the best mileage they're going to be able to get today. And based on that, he's going to decide, do I come in at lap 26, 27, 28, somewhere in there towards the end of the race, because that's going to be the window. I mean, you want to be on pit road before everybody else, hope you catch a caution, and they all have to come under the caution flag.
Back up the hill as they get ready to come to the start-finish line. And they creep up to that line. Green flag back in the air.
I got an idea turn 1 could be a little more chaotic than it was the first time, because all these guys know what the racetrack is right now.
Dive into turn number 1. The right-hander, 2x2 through that turn.
They're all staying double file. The last time we saw them all get single file, they're not doing that this time, are they, Dale?
No, they're not, but you got a great battle. Justin Marks was able to take that 2nd spot away, but Ben Rhodes not wanting to give it up easily here.
And Justin Marks did not want to give him any of the track. He tried to keep him out the outside. They're still side by side as they work their way down into turn 5. This will be the heavy braking area. Looks like Ben Rhodes is going to win that battle.
Yeah, had a little push there, actually, from Brian Scott in the 2. Now Brian Scott sent him in there a little fast. Now he's going to take advantage of that and take that 2nd spot.
Brian Scott's very aggressive here early.
Brian Scott takes over 2nd. Now it's side-by-side battle for the 3rd position. Ben Rhodes and Ryan Blaney. Blaney in the 22, Ben Rhodes in the 88. Rhodes drops back another spot.
This is where the crew chief on that 88 is counting on his spotters. You need some really good spotters around him because this young man hasn't got a lot of experience on these road courses, and all these veteran road races right here are putting some serious pressure on him. He's just got to remain calm here a little bit. Once it gets single file, he'll be able to hit his marks and maintain a decent position on the racetrack.
Ryan Scott restarted 5th, has already made his way up to 2nd through the carousel. It's the long sweeping right-hand turn.
Suarez there with a move to get by Ty Dillon. Looks like Ty is going to try to take that spot back, though.
They're headed down towards the Canada corner here, one of the fastest places on the racetrack, about 155, 160 miles an hour into Canada corner right here.
And Ryan Blaney trying to make that pass on the outside entering that corner.
Here comes Ryan Blaney, the fight for 2nd. Ryan Scott trying to hold him off. He will through that turn, and they come to turn 14.
As aggressive as some of these guys are being right now, I think they've already forgotten that the grass is going to be awful wet if they get off the course.
Look at Ben Rhodes back there sideways off of turn 14. Here's Blaney.
There comes Borisset on the inside.
Boris in the 54 has the Monster Energy emblem on the hood, and they continue to race side by side for 2nd.
Watch how much Boris closes up getting into turn 1 on the braking on these guys. Here comes Paul Menard right there with Boris.
Ryan Blaney has a preferred line on the inside of this turn. Can he hang on to that position? The crossover move by Brian Scott. Just behind Borisset in 4th, and they continue to race for that 2nd position. Ryan Blaney has it now in front of Brian Scott.
What a great racetrack. All the side-by-side racing. We're 2-3 laps into this thing and still side-by-side.
Well, the craziness about this track is not very wide. 28 to 32 feet in most areas around this track.
But good grip in both lanes.
Coming into turn 5.
These drivers were telling me, though, as they get some laps now running greenside, now Blaney make a little bit of a mistake. There's Brian Scott to take advantage of that once again. But they were telling me how fast the tires are falling off. They're losing about 2 seconds after about a 10-lap run. So they're really having to get after it, and at times, if they get the opportunity, save the tires just a little bit. But there's no saving the tires going on in this group right here.
No, and but you can see already with the 22, he's abused his tires early. He was awful aggressive, and now he's losing spots. Instead of charging, he charged a little too hard early, and now he's paying the price.
Here comes Paul Menard in the 33. He has moved up in front of Ryan Blaney, up into the top 5. Biggest mover since the restart, Borisset. 5 positions he's gained. All the way up into 3rd behind Brian Scott.
And good for Stanton Barrett, you know, already moving up through the field. Again, that car never got on the racetrack yesterday, Dale, because of the problems they had with the transporter. Derek Hope helped them out, let him run a lap in his car, and now he's out here competing.
Jumping out of line, 42 of Justin Marks trying to get by the 88 of Ben Rhodes.
We're going to see that right there all day. We saw Boris do it just a minute ago to Justin Marks, who learned, from that and charged the corner, got beside him. And there is a little bit of runoff area at most of these, so you can move a guy out of the way without actually wrecking him. But we're going to see this all day. This is a very competitive field. That's not good.
That's not good. Don't get in the grass right there.
Yeah, it's going to clog up your grill at the very least it's going to happen. You have to make an extra time on pit road then.
And that's a huge key here, because on a 4-mile racetrack like this, if he is starting to warm up at all right now, he will have to pit this next time. If he goes 2 laps, could damage the motor and blow it up.
Ty Dillon just behind the 42 of Justin Marks. Take another look at what happened there in turn 14.
We saw Justin Marks just a couple of minutes ago. See, he charged the corner, got a little bit loose, but he knew that he had the car there to lean on, and that's road racing kind of at its best. Ben Rhodes doesn't appreciate that move, but he'll learn and understand that, hey, if I'm going to make passes on this tight road course, I'm going to have to be aggressive like that myself.
Yeah, I mean, and Justin Marks cleanly had the spot. It's just that he could have not run the 88 up off the racetrack quite as much.
You got championship contenders nose to tail with Ty Dillon in the 3 and the 60 of Chris Buescher. And around goes Ryan Reed in the 16. He will keep it going. We stay green.
Yeah, that's down in the turn 5.
All right, all clear here.
Turn 5, they go uphill to turn 6. That blind turn 6, he's trying to get back up to speed.
As we mentioned, that turn 5 comes at the end of a long straightaway. It's a hard braking area where you have to go from high gear down to 2nd gear, actually down to 1st gear. So you're doing a lot of shifting there, getting them RPMs matched up. Easy to wheel hop and get turned around there.
He didn't look like he was getting up to speed very well right there either. I almost thought that he maybe had something hung in gear, but starting to look a little better.
Now back up to pace for Ryan Reed. The pace being set by Chase Elliott out in front of the field at Road America. 28 of J.J. Yaley on pit road. They're working extensively on the left front of that car. Here's why.
Looks like it gets a little bit loose and it gets out in the grass.
Yeah, all it took was get that left rear out there in the grass, and then it was just trying to hold on and maintain, but you can see a lot of damage already.
And all that damage is from the grass and the dirt is so soft that once that splitter digs in a little bit, I mean, it's just like an auger, if you will.
Shovel, picking up all the dirt, getting it right in front. Another driver who was complaining about a little bit of overheating was the driver of the 88, starting up front on the pole. Remember, coming out of turn 14, he gets wide and into the grass.
Yeah, we talked about this. These things are like lawnmowers. They're so low to the ground, they just cut that grass up, and you can see the grill right there on the bottom. It gets covered. The top actually is okay, but it doesn't matter. It's just not enough opening.
Dave.
Ben will be glad to hit pit road for a number of reasons. He had flat spotted his tires. The handling was way off. They considered pitting just for that. But now with the overheating, he's got to come down pit road. 4 fresh Goodyear tires. They'll fill him full of Sunoco fuel. And this young pole sitter will get back on the track after a disappointing start to his day.
This may not be the end all for these guys because it's lap 7 here in the race. If they get a bunch of cautions, it's 3 or 4 laps early, but if they get a lot of cautions, they can possibly stretch this and call this their first stop. We're expecting other guys to come somewhere between 11 and 15.
Chase Elliott has a 7-second lead over second place Brian Scott. He has been putting down laps very impressively, just over 2 minutes and 15 seconds for Chase Elliott. And as you mentioned, we've only completed 7 laps, so he's about a second of a lap faster than everybody else on the track.
Yeah, and I feel like he's honestly pushing a little bit too hard right now. I mean, we know we're not going to go, we don't expect to ever go green here the rest of the way. I know Boris said the way he races, he's going to be racing smart. I think Paul Menard, a veteran guy like him, he's racing fairly smart right now. So, you know, there's no need for Chase Elliott to push the brakes this hard, to push the tires this hard. Other than the fact he's trying early, I guess, as a driver, you probably want to figure out what your car's got.
And Kelly, are they talking about pushing it a little bit too hard?
No, they're telling Chase just to keep doing what he's doing, to be smart and take care of the equipment. They've really had a good car all weekend as soon as they got out of the box. In fact, Chase kind of called it quits a little bit early yesterday in practice because he knows that these road courses can really tear equipment up, and he was really happy with the car that he had. You know, Rick, you called it a 7-second lead. Well, over the radio, they told Chase, hey, you're cleared by about a zillion car lengths. Gotta give you some confidence.
A zillion car lengths. That's a pretty good gap between 1 and 2.
Well, I guess he can believe that because he looks in his mirror and he sees nobody.
Right.
So that's a pretty good sign. I don't mind what Chase Elliott's doing here right now early on because he can see how much he can push his tires for later on. Dave?
Darrell Wallace is on pit road. I'm believing that this is planned. The crew going to the right side first, now to the left side. Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel for Bubba.
And the difference, again, the fueling on the right side of the car. That's the closest to pit wall. So that's a little bit different from what we have seen when they're on the ovals. So Chase Elliott going through the carousel. It's a long sweeping right-hand turn. We were listening into his radio just moments ago.
Who's running fast? Just you. Other than that, the 2 and the 54 about a second and a half slower than you.
So here's a driver who's dominating right now, but he has to have in the back of his mind, I was close to winning this race a year ago. I don't want to have anything affect the possibility of me winning it. He's going to go out and put lap after lap after lap down and try to put as much distance between himself and the field.
And if he's doing that right now, just being smooth and not aggressive on his equipment, boy, these other guys in the field have really got some work to do.
Yeah, they do. I think that there's a lot probably left in the 54 car, as you pointed out with Boris said. I think that he's probably can get there, but you know, who knows? This thing may go green. The likelihood of it, not.
Right.
But, you know, you build up that big lead. It gives you opportunities to run the race that you want to instead of it being dictated by someone else.
We've completed 9 laps, and that was his 9th lap that he just went across the start-finish line. He has been the fastest car on the track every single lap. So Chase Elliott has been dominant since the drop of the green flag. We had a quick caution. After that, it's been all Chase Elliott here at Road America. Welcome back. Green flag pit stops are underway for a few different teams. We see the 18 of Daniel Suarez in there. Kelly?
Who's making his Xfinity Series debut here at Road America. He said the car is tight getting in and loose from the center and off. You see they're making the 4 Goodyear tire change for Daniel Suarez. And as we talk about fuel mileage here at Road America, they're going to make sure they got him packed full there of Sunoco fuel. And Daniel Suarez is on his way.
I would expect to see the 54 come real shortly after this. This is the teammate to Boris Said.
There's the difference between first and second. We've just witnessed the 9 of Chase Elliott going by. Oh, look at the stuff on the front of the 62. It looks like Brendan has either gotten off the road at some point in time or someone in front of him has. He's got a lot of mud on the windshield.
Yeah, it looks more like somebody in front of him to get all of that.
Yeah, because I don't see a lot of grass on the grill. I don't think he's going to overheat right there. It just looked like a spray of mud.
Take a look and focus on the top of your screen. He does get off track.
That is him.
Well, he got extremely lucky right there, though. Look at his grill.
Yeah.
It's still open. I mean, he was in the gas enough right there. It looked like the nose was up enough, and it didn't cut into the grass.
Mike.
And yeah, guys, he has not complained one bit about the cooling issues on that car. It doesn't look like there's a lot of debris on the front of that grill. He did, however, make light of the situation, made kind of a comical comment saying, hey, I got less dirty when I road raced here in Wisconsin. And you can see on the windshield why you would say that. Man, that car is a little filthy.
Yeah. Well, remember, a year ago, he was off track 3 times and still came back and won this race.
I was just going to say, that may work out for him here. He's got to go off 2 more times.
I'm sure he doesn't want to as he comes back up the hill to the start-finish line. Everyone completing their 11th lap. 34 laps to go. We're in the window now where we expect to see all of the drivers come onto pit road. One of the favorites that we looked at earlier, as Boris said, he's on pit road now, the 54. And again, a rookie stripe on the back of Boris Said's number 54, Kelly.
And early in this race, Boris just said he was just taking it easy for now. He knows you got to be there at the end. Now he's saying car's a little bit too loose in the back. They're going to give him 4 Goodyear tires fueled and make an air pressure adjustment to try to help him out with that, Mike.
Kenny Abul is in. He's saying he needs a little bit more front grip. They're going to go with a 4 tire change, also an air pressure adjustment. And you can say a turn on the chassis as well. He stalls it getting out of his pit box. They're going to have to give him a little bit of a push. Finally gets it refired. Kelly?
Elliott Sadler says the car just won't turn through the center and it's tight off the turns. He said he's been messing with the brakes, which is causing it to wheel up really, really bad. They made an adjustment there for Elliott Sadler. 4 tires and fuel. Rick?
Yeah, and that's something that's changed for Elliott Sadler. They worked extremely hard yesterday in practice. They were having to do some things with the rear springs to get him the forward bite. He says we did that. It hurt the center. Sounds like they've got the car too tight. Now they'll have to start adjusting back some of the things that they did to take that out.
The reason that they're coming onto pit road now, Frank, is they have a window where their fuel window falls anywhere from maybe 17, 19, 20 laps on a tank of fuel. So they have looked at the end of this race, 45 laps, and then counted backwards how many they think they can go. So that's why we're seeing this potentially their first of 2 pit stops that they're doing under green. This is such a long course. They want to come onto pit road under green because if a caution does come out, they automatically get a catch back up.
That's absolutely right. You want to make sure that you've gotten in before your competitors. Here's Chase Elliott, the leader of the race. You want to make sure that you've gotten in before your competitors, because in case a caution comes out and you have to come in under the caution, now it allows somebody like Boris Said, for example, that's already pitted, had a caution just come out right there before Chase Elliott gets to pit road. Now Chase is at a deficit. Boris would end up being the leader of the race possibly, and Chase Elliott could come back out 10th, 12th, 14th, who knows.
Now Ty Dillon just took the lead as Chase Elliott's on pit road. Kelly.
And haven't heard have not heard Chase Elliott say much about the condition of his car. At one point, he just asked, hey, who else is going fast out here? Ernie Cope said, no one, just you. You see the 4 tires and Sunoco view for the 9 car, Mike.
Ryan Scott needing a little bit of rear grip. They'll do it with air pressure. A 4-tire change in Sunoco race fuel. He's away in 15.8 seconds.
They got to make sure not to make mistakes on pit road as far as speeding or too many men over the wall. Dave.
A lot of folks on pit road now. The 60 of Chris Buescher is on pit road. No braking power mid-turn. They cannot fix that. They will change 4 Goodyear tires and give an adjustment for a tight race car. Justin Marks is on pit road. Paul Menard is on and off of pit road.
That was interesting there. They're going at it a little bit differently. Of course, this is kind of like pitting at Watkins Glen, but I noticed that the 60 car there changed the right side tires first, then went to the left side tires, trying to get that, make it a little bit quicker. The other thing that I saw was somebody just hitting 4 lug nuts. Not sure about doing that. It's self-policing. Mike?
The 16 of Ryan Reed, they're going to change all 4 tires, and they wanted to after that spin. They thought the tires looked good. He's a little slow coming out of his box. I don't know if he stalled there or not. Having trouble getting up to speed and through the gearbox. Finally he does, and it took a little time there, and that may cost him a little bit of real estate.
He looks like he's got a first gear problem.
Yes, I think you're exactly. I was going to say that. You pointed that out earlier.
Earlier in the race when he had that problem, you need to check with the crew chief right there, Mike, but I believe he's got a first gear problem.
And Ty Dillon has taken over the lead. Ty will have to come onto pit road. He has not been on pit road as well as the other drivers in the top 7. So all of the top 7 drivers haven't been to pit road yet. Ty Dillon, Brendan Gaughan, Dylan Kwasniewski, Andy Lally.
And this
back is top 5.
This is important for the points right here. Ty Dillon staying out, making sure he gets a point for leading a lap.
We're going to run 1 more lap, staying out.
See, he hasn't led yet, so he's going to cross the start-finish line this time and finally get NASCAR to score him as the leader.
Yeah, that's because what an amazing lead Chase Elliott had. He was able to not only come onto pit road at pit road speed, which takes a long time to get to his pit stall, but he was able to cross the start-finish line before Ty Dillon was able to get there. That's the gap that he had on him. So now Ty Dillon scored as the race leader through NASCAR, so he will get that 1 point for leading the lap.
Yeah, well, the key there is where where Chase Elliott is pitting on pit road, because he crosses the start-finish line on pit road. He actually gets scored for that leading that lap, and Ty didn't have the opportunity to go by yet.
Ty Dillon has a 10-second lead over Brendan Gaughan, who is currently scored 2nd. Guys who came to pit road. All of the green flag pit stops will continue to cycle through. Chase Elliott is already back to 8th and now moving up to 7th. As some of the drivers making their way onto pit road that were in front of him. There's Ryan Blaney in the 22, just in front of Chris Buescher in the 60.
And these guys are both going to cycle through here. They're going to be in the top 5 when it's all said and done. Going back to the pit stops, it was interesting what you mentioned about the 60 car. As we watched the 16 pit stop, they did the exact same thing. So it obviously looks like Roush Fenway has done some homework back at home, practiced and figured out that it was actually faster for them for some reason, whether their guys liked it or whether it was just overall faster. And I've never seen that before, to be quite honest.
Talking about changing the right sides then left sides. Dave.
They've been doing it at the road courses. I experienced it at Watkins Glen as well. But Roush Fenway Racing pit crew coach Rodney Fetters told me this morning that if you're not waiting on fuel, you can pick up over a second by using the motion memory or the muscle memory that the crew members have by going to the same side they normally do first. He said it's pretty amazing, but it's true.
And we're hearing that Dakota Armstrong in the 43, too fast exiting pit road. There's that mistake that he will have to do a pass-through penalty, which means he'll have to slow all the way down to pit road speed for a very long pit road, and that's a big deficit for him.
Well, it is, but depending on how tight he was to the leaders, again, on a 4-mile course like this, he actually could come down pit road, not stop in his pit box, take the penalty, and still come out ahead of the leader on this racetrack.
But it still is a huge deficit, probably bigger here, obviously, with everything combined. The length of the track, the length of pit road, just everything. It's a huge mistake as our leaders on pit road. Mike?
Yeah, and Ty Dillon coming in, making his stop, relinquishing the lead. He's been lacking grip like most drivers I've heard here on pit road. They're going to go to work on that with an air pressure adjustment. a 4-tire change in Sunoco race fuel. They finished service on the left side and now going to work on the right side. As Dave mentioned, taking a little bit longer here with this inverted pit stop, but he's away in almost 17 seconds. Andy Lally now making his stop as well. Lally feeling pretty good about his race car to this point. Expect a 4-tire change here as well. No significant adjustment, just an air pressure adjustment there. The team a little bit slow on the left side. They finished the rear before they finished the front, and they're not in sync. That slowed them down on that stop before they made their way around to the right side, and that's going to cost them significant time. A very slow stop for Andy Lally and the 90 team. They're still on pit road. More than 24 seconds has elapsed, and they're still working, guys. This will hurt for sure.
Mike, that's all on the driver right there. That's not the pit crew's fault. Andy Lally got too tight to the pit road wall right there, and you could see the jack man could not even hardly get in there to jack it up.
Take another look. As you mentioned, a little bit too tight to that wall.
And this is the difficulty right here because of the left versus the right. Normally we always have the wall on the driver's side where they can kind of gauge a lot easier. But when you've got a car that's 8 foot wide and you're setting on the left-hand side, it's very difficult for them to gauge where the wall is. And you see this a lot on these road courses where we pit backwards.
There's Brendan Gaughan. He is out front after 14 laps complete from Road America.
Is this an asphalt race or a dirt race?
Well, it looks like it's dirt if you look at the grill and the windshield of that 62. Brendan Gaughan yet to come to pit road. We would expect him on pit road here in the next few laps.
If he goes to the local car wash to get that clean, they're going to charge him extra, don't you think?
Absolutely. He was off course.
Hey, buddy, we're pitching this time. It's going to be first here, 4,900 when you hit the bar.
They're calling him in.
That's the key right here. You see how far back. See that yellow line right there? That's actually where the green light is to tell you that you can or cannot get on pit road. But the problem here is because it's so long right there, once you're committed, if that light happens to go red, there's no chance. You're just done. You just have to try to do a pass-through.
Pass-through. And that's also the first speed line. So that pit road speed starts at that line. Mike?
And Brendan Gaughan has been saying he's been biding his time, driving as smoothly as possible. He may, however, have a bit of a tire rub. They're going to take a look at the fenders and the quarter panels, making sure there's no issues there. A 4-tire change for Gaughan. They'll also wash the windshield so he can see, as we alluded to earlier, that was becoming a little bit difficult. Smooth stop, and he's away.
Yeah, clean windshield's got to help.
For sure.
So Brendan Gaughan, last year's winner from Road America, making his way off of pit road as we've cycled through. Chase Elliott back out in front, this time with only a 4.5-second lead. Today's aerial coverage provided by our partners at Smithfield Foods. You can get news, results, and highlights delivered to your inbox. Subscribe to the free official NASCAR newsletter at NASCAR.com/newsletter. So after green flag pit stops have cycled through, Chase Elliott back out front, Brian Scott back in second, and there is an 11-second difference between 1 and 2.
See why Chase Elliott has gotten even bigger lead. Man in second, Brian Scott countered some difficult traffic right there. You can see
Ryan Blaney trying to get through
he
as
did
well.
that, but Scott did a nice job there. He got it slowed down and then was able to exit the corner with some pretty good speed. So he made the best of what could have been a really bad situation, but it did cost him some time.
Yeah, both those lap cars actually gave him a lot of room right there, too. They moved off.
And coming back to turn 14 for Chase Elliott.
I wish Chase
uphill.
I wish Chase had told us how fast he was, because we would have talked about him a whole lot more.
I knew yesterday when they quit early that it wasn't all because of some of the moisture that was falling out there. I think they felt very, very confident. He's been so good on all of his road courses, and he does remind you, watching him, of his dad, just how smooth Bill Elliott was on the road course. Of course, he got his first win out at Riverside, and so he always was outstanding on that, and Chase has fallen right into that.
And the 2 of Brian Scott, you see him there with the Shore Lodge Camaro. Now just getting into turn number 1, chasing after Chase Elliott. Mike?
And you know, this is a hungry driver, Rick. I had a pretty lengthy conversation with Brian Scott earlier this weekend about his season as a whole, and he used the word disappointment. He said, look, we're not running for a championship anymore, so there's only one goal, and that, of course, is to win races. He was quoted as saying, we're taking our gloves off and being as aggressive as we possibly can be. So expect, when it comes down to the nitty-gritty today, that he will use every inch of that bumper, if need be, to get to victory lane. Kelly?
Just behind Brian Scott is the 22 car of Ryan Blaney. He's making his first road course start in the Xfinity series. He has, however, won a truck race up in Canada. He was among the quickest in both practice sessions yesterday. Really happy with that 22 car, but this race early reporting that it was just too loose. They made a track bar adjustment to him on that last stop to try to help him out with that, Dave.
Kelly, Eau Claire, Wisconsin's Paul Menard having a top 5 run right now as he works around a slower car. On that first run, he said the car was pretty neutral everywhere except turn 6. There it was a little bit tight, and that's a left-hander, so they went to adjust on that, tried to make it better. Crew Chief Denny Stockman told me he's glad to have Paul in the car. One of the things about Road America is there's so much shifting. So much can go wrong with the transmissions here, and he's glad to have Paul in the car and not maybe a young guy with less experience.
The other thing that can wear and tear on a car at a road course, especially like here at Road America with 14 turns, are the brakes. And we saw Dakota Armstrong on pit road just a little while ago, and they have brake issues. Is that something that these drivers need to be concerned about, is being a little bit easy on their brakes early in this race?
Well, they absolutely do. And interesting you say that, because all weekend long in practice, what we heard about was everybody's trying a different brake combination, a lot of guys were, to try to keep up with the JR Motorsports guys, because at Mid-Ohio, they felt like all of the JR Motorsports guys out-braked them. And now we see Chase Elliott just driving away from the field out here. You have to wonder what they have for a brake combination that is beating everybody this much.
Yeah, and I think that you run into brake problems here for a couple of reasons. We see that a lot of the opening is taped up, and the straightaways are so long, these brakes can sometimes cool down so much that you'll start getting a shimmy because they cool down so much, the pad wears there, and then that's discomforting to the driver. Matter of fact, it's very aggravating as a driver. So then as you get to the high braking areas, they can't cool down as quickly as you need to. They keep that heat in there, and a couple of those come up together. So it creates issues, and it's really kind of a tough situation for the crew chief to decide how much tape do I run there.
Yeah, it's very counterintuitive, because you've got to keep enough heat in the brakes to not get that brake shake you talk about. What happens is the pad compound actually sticks to the rotor, and it doesn't clean. If it gets too cold, the rotor gets too cold, it doesn't clean that pad material off, and all of a sudden you get down to the corner and you just get a tremendous brake shake. I mean, it will literally shake the wheel out of a driver's hand.
Morissette in the 54 trying to stay in front of the 3 of Ty Dillon. Morissette, one of the veterans on the racetrack, definitely one of the best in road course racing, as he's trying to hold off Ty Dillon. We were listening into his radio just moments ago. Bad loose, we heard from the driver.
You know what? I think yesterday's practice bit a lot of these guys, and then Morissette is one of them. I talked to Boris a little bit. He felt like his car was pretty good, but I also talked to Greg Irwin on the 22 car this morning in the garage. He felt he wasn't sure how good the 54 was. He knew that he was pretty fast on 1 lap, 2 lap runs, but he was worried of how good he was going to be on long runs, because Boris never made a lot of long runs. Talking to Boris, the reason for that was that in the second practice, the track had a lot of moisture on it, and he just didn't feel like he wanted to take a chance of hurting the car getting off the course. So this maybe come back and bite him a little bit today.
They get through Canada corner, turn number 12, and then through 13, coming up to the final right-hander as we've completed 19 laps from Road America. Let's see who is topping the Xfinity speed charts. I'll give you one guess. The driver of the 9.
It's a blue car.
Yes, Chase Elliott has been very impressive. Paul Menard, second fastest lap. Brian Scott, Ryan Blaney, and Brendan Gaughan, all the top 5 in the Xfinity speed chart. The battle between the 54 and the 3 had been brewing for a couple laps, and this just happened.
Yeah, Boris had been holding him up, and Looks like the driver finally decided he wanted to go, right, Dave?
Well, sometimes, yeah, you just have to use that horn there and let him know that I'm ready to come through.
And before that happened, this was a lap earlier.
Yeah, that looks okay. I mean, the 3 wasn't in there enough. That's not a great passing zone right there anyway.
Boris definitely closing the door on the 3, but the 3 has since been able to get by, and now Boris is back in front of the 3. So they have swapped a position. Pretty good race between those 2 cars.
Yeah, and they're hurting themselves right now. You know, racing each other instead of racing the course is not good when you've got the 9 car driving away.
And this just happened as far as Boris getting back out in front of Ty. Ty a little bit quick entering the corner.
Got a little loose.
Yeah, that's probably the first time that he hasn't been following Boris in there in quite a while. So he probably said, okay, I can take this in a little bit deeper than what Boris was. And then that was a little too far.
Well, and honestly, you guys usually have some marks and stuff. And when you've got a car in front of you, you're kind of using him.
Judging them by them.
Judge.
Yes.
Now all of a sudden you don't have a mark. Yeah.
There's no doubt that the 3's faster. Boris fighting this loose condition with his race car. But he's such a good road racer, he's able to keep him behind there. Let's watch his footwork here. A little different than what we would see with most. With most, they would have their left foot over there on the brake. Boris is not going to do that. He's going to use his right foot most of the time for the brake. You can see he's just testing it out to make sure that it's there. You want to know that that's happening. And probably what he's doing, he's probably, because of his loose car, he's testing that brake because his pedal's starting to go away a little bit. So he pumps it up just a little bit to know that it's there as he goes to heel and toe. That brake pedal needs to stay up there, not go down past his gas pedal, because then he can't get his heel over on the gas.
And he did tell me, longer this race went, brakes were going to be a concern for him and for everybody.
We've had a pretty long green flag run. This one 18 laps now. We've completed 21 laps on lap 22 here at Road America. Out in front, Chase Elliott, Ryan Scott running second, Ryan Blaney third, Chris Buescher and Paul Menard are the top 5. Borsett able to stay in front of Ty Dillon.
Looks a little smoother right now. You know, the 3's tires have probably started to get a little bit worse as we've gone on here, because the 3 did pit off late, so he did have better tires than the 54 of Borsett.
Regan Smith just outside the top 5. Kelly?
Running in the 6th position now. It finished in the top 10 6 of the last 7 races. When I asked about their success as of late, he said really they've just hit a stretch of the season that they had a lot of confidence going into it. He said outside of Watkins Glen, when of course he had contact with Ty Dillon, he said, I bet we've gained more points in the last 7 weeks than anyone, which is why he was just so upset about that incident right now. He's just saying he's tight initial throttle, then loose late, Dave.
Justin Marks is currently 7th in that sort of blackish purplish car behind him, number 42. And Justin, this is his last of 2 races in the 42 car for this season. Crew Chief Mike Shiplet telling me he jeopardized an opportunity for us to have a great finish at Mid-Ohio by charging just a little bit too hard. He said if we can avoid that today, we are here to win. The car so far today has been just a little bit tight in the middle.
By the way, that is the longest green flag stint we have ever seen at Road America. Again, 5 races previous, the longest was 18 laps. We've just completed 19 green flag laps. So they continue to run well here at Road America, all chasing Elliott. Still under a yellow flag condition here at Road America, and it has proved to be a very difficult racetrack. Started early for Tommy Dreese in the 26 off track. He got stuck.
Yeah, early on it was a little bit difficult. Drivers trying to establish their position. See, Brendan Gaughan had been off track with all the mud and dirt.
Yeah, and actually only 1 caution with all this chaos right here. We only had the 1 caution for Tommy Dreese.
Most recently, and you don't have to worry about it when you're out by yourself.
No,
and Chase Elliott has been by himself on the racetrack for a long time.
And what does crew chief say? There's nobody behind you? Who's in my mirror? Nobody.
A zillion car links, I believe, is what the spotter gave him. Not exactly sure how many car links a zillion is, but that's a long ways back there. So anyway, we are under the 2nd caution of the day. The first one was for Tommy Dreese. This one's for fluid on the racetrack, put down by Cale Conley in the 14. Pit road was closed the last time they went by.
It's an interesting time right now. It's right on the edge here. I mean, it's a 4-mile course, so it's not really on the edge because it takes so long to go around here. You basically use about a gallon of gas under the green. But we talked about earlier in the race that somewhere between 27 and 30 is going to be when most people are going to come down pit road. So it'll be interesting to see if you get a few guys, mid-pack guys, that come maybe get 4 tires right here, and then when it goes back green, just come down and just get fuel only. And again, if this caution continues to go for another 2, 3, 4 laps, now you get right on the edge of 26, 27. Do you gamble?
Pit road is open. We'll see if Chase Elliott opts to go onto pit road. He does not. Stays on the racetrack. But how about?
But here comes Paul Menard.
Paul Menard.
Boris said, looks like. I'm telling you, these guys are going to gamble it from here, hoping they get a bunch of cautions. Or, like I said, they're going to put the tires on right here. When it goes back green, they'll just come down pit road 2 laps into the run because the field is so bunched up that now when they come back on the pit road, they're only going to be there for 4 seconds.
In this strategy, the 3, Mike.
Yeah, and Ty Dillon making his stop. It's going to be a 4-tire change and an air pressure adjustment. They've been searching for grip throughout the course of the afternoon so far, and air pressure's been the route they have gone. The left side service is complete. Now 4 Goodyears have been placed on the machine, and he pulls away. Kelly.
Boris said he needs more forward bite, and then he said he is bad loose. Last time around, they had a really slow pit stop when the wheel got caught in the fender. Looking to do better this time. It's 4 tires for Boris said, Dave.
Paul Menard gives up 5th place because he said my car was worse than the first run. Remember, it was a little bit tight in the left-handers. He would lose the rear when he would try to drive the car harder, so they give him a 4-tire change. Might have put a spring rubber in that left rear and a wedge adjustment as well.
So a few teams taking this opportunity to come onto pit road, have some service done to their cars. A different strategy. Welcome back to the Road America 180, fired up by Johnsonville. And the 54 of Boris said was on pit road just moments ago. It looked like they were doing some extensive work on the back of that car.
Yeah, it looks like he's talked about this thing being very loose for him. So they probably did air pressure on the first stop, and now this guy in the left rear actually reaches in and pulls the spring rubber out of the car. The important thing is he's also got to get it out of the right side. But when we watched the stop, it was Dale noticed that it was a very slow stop on the right-hand side. And Kelly reported back to us that the wire actually broke as he went to pull it out. You can see him go back in there for a second time right here. He does the right thing, though. He went back in, got it out of there. That's a crucial move right there. Had he quit on it and not gotten that out, now actually they would make the car handle even worse by just only getting the one out of the left and not the right.
Okay, now for them, what you were talking about and setting up a possible strategy here of just a couple of laps to come in, they're going to have to get in. They're going to have to do something to get a little bit off sequence, hope that they get there on pit road, get their fuel in the race car, and then the caution come out to where they can gain some track position back because they're way back.
Kelly, how about our race leader?
Well, for Chase Elliott, and I'm sure crew chiefs across this pit lane, the timing of that caution kind of threw a wrench in their plans for when to come in. Here's what Ernie Cope had to say.
This is exactly the worst case scenario right here. Would you expect anything else? If we get a green white checkered at the end of the race, then we're sitting there with 5 more laps on our tires, so that's going to be a disadvantage. We're going to stay out, we're going to pit on our window like we planned, and just stick to the plan.
And initially, Ernie Cope kind of flip-flopped on making that decision, but as you heard, his game plan now is to have fresh tires, or the fresher of the tires, for the end of this race. And should we go green, white, checkered? Mike?
Kelly, a very similar situation in the 2 camp. Crew chief Mike Hillman Jr. radioed to his driver Brian Scott right as the caution came out and said, look, we've got 2 options. We can either come in now, take tires, but we're still 4 laps short. We'll have to still come down and take gas in about 4 laps. Then he thought for about 30 seconds and then said, forget it. We only have one option. We're going to stick to our game plan. We're going to stay on the racetrack. We're going to come down pit road in about 4 laps, top off, and stay with the plan we had originally coming in.
There you have it. Stay with the plan that we originally had coming in, no matter where the cautions fall. This is Kettle Bottoms, and that is Tommy Dreese that the car stalled back there. That's the long straightaway, as far away from the front stretch as you can get. He goes into Canada Corner, and he'll come back to turn 14 and back to the pits. We take a look at today's Toyota driver update, and right now it may not look that good because they don't have a driver in the top 10, but some of the drivers are using strategy to maybe put themselves in a great position. We just listened into Boris Said's radio.
Can't make it to the end, so we'll be stopping again, right?
Likely, but we'll just do a splash of fuel. So all those guys who didn't pit, they're going to have to stop and take 4 tires and be in here 14 seconds. We're going to be in like 2 seconds. So we should leapfrog them again.
This is a key move right here. I question the 9 and some of these guys not coming down pit road. The 3 car, the 33 of Paul Menard and Ty Dillon, they're 12th, 13th out here on the racetrack. You see the field, how bunched up it is right here. That means that when they go back green, they're only going to be 3 or 4 seconds behind the leader. And we're only going to run probably 3, maybe 2 laps before the 9's going to, Chase Elliott's going to come down pit road. When he does, he's going to do a 15-second pit stop. These other guys are only going to come down and get a splash of gas. It's going to take them 3 seconds to do that. So 10 seconds now, they're going to move ahead of where Chase Elliott's at. They easily could come out as the leader if they choose to do that. Now, if they want to gamble here and not pit at all and hope to get a lot of cautions, they could go that route. But Boris said clearly is going to come down early on here in the next 3 or 4 laps.
Boris said could gamble and not come back to pit road. The other guys have to. They came on pit road in lap 12. Like, for example, Chase Elliott, Brian Scott.
Yes, but not Ty Dillon and Paul Menard.
Right.
They just pitted with Boris.
Right.
And they get better fuel mileage than Boris does. Boris's car does not get good fuel mileage, so he is going to have to come. He cannot gamble. He's going to have to come and just do a top-up, but that's okay. And that's what Bubba Wallace is doing right here. As you see the 6 car go to pit road, he's doing the exact same thing.
Field coming up the hill, getting ready for the restart. Chase Elliott, Brian Scott once again, 1 and 2. Green flag back in the air. 19 laps of racing to go from Road America. The next time these drivers make their way onto pit road, they will be able to make it on fuel. We saw Ryan Blaney make the move, trying to get by to take second, but Ryan Blaney way off the racetrack. That allows the 2 of Brian Scott and the 7 of Regan Smith to move up and fight for that second spot.
Yeah, you can see these drivers really didn't know. They hadn't been in this position with the tires this much worn. The air pressure's built up. Chase Elliott even got in there a little bit hot, but he knew the 22 had been very aggressive, and he had to protect that position.
And it's go time right here. These guys all know that they're going to be coming down pit road pretty shortly here. So they want to get that track position, want to try to get away from these guys that we just talked about, Ty Dillon and Paul Menard. They've got to stretch that lead as much as they can.
And off the track, that's the 24 of Eric McClure.
Looks like the 18 locked up his brakes a little bit there. Lucky that Boris, his teammate, didn't get into him.
Andy Lally in the 90 right in the middle of all of that, as well as the 60 of Chris Buescher. Got to keep our eye on Chris as he fights with Justin Marks right now for position.
19 laps to go. This is the number. Without a green-white checker, most people can make it from right here.
This time after the restart, Chase Elliott not pulling away from Brian Scott. The gap very close. As you mentioned, they'll be fighting for track position now because they know they have to come to pit road here within the next few laps. Who will gamble, come earlier, who will gamble and stay out a little bit later, seeing if they can have their tires a little bit stronger. Kelly.
Well, you're going to see that rookie Daniel Suarez there in the 18 car. See, he's going a bit slow. He's got a flat tire. He did come in during that caution, so he's already made the 1 pit. Now he's going to have to make a second to take care of that flat tire.
A little bit of smoke there. May have come from Boris Said getting in the brakes. We saw the 54 just go out of picture. And how about a battle for the lead? Chase Elliott trying to hold off Brian Scott in the 2. Here comes the crossover move. Brian Scott takes the lead away from Chase Elliott. Here comes Ryan Blaney behind him.
Here comes Regan Smith to pit road.
Regan Smith will make the hard right turn, go on to pit road. We have a new leader at Road America.
Wow, where did that come from, Dale?
I don't know. I'm not sure that Chase Elliott wasn't trying to get there, but they put him in a position that he couldn't get to that and couldn't get on pit road.
You're absolutely right.
So Brian Scott in front. Ryan Blaney running second. Chase Elliott has dropped to third. That dirty number 62 of Brendan Gaughan running fourth.
I would expect pit road to be a busy place this lap.
Daniel Suarez has come to pit road. Again, he had a flat tire or complained about possible flat tire on the 18. Now Ryan Blaney looking to the right side. Brian Scott is a brake, hard braking, getting ready for this left-hander.
And Chase Elliott really closed up on the braking right there, didn't he?
Yeah, it looks like an area that he's really been able to kind of be better than everyone else all day long, is getting into the corner a little harder, under control.
Absolutely. We haven't been able to see that earlier because nobody's been in front of him, but we're seeing it right now.
They go through 7, and now they'll set up for the hard left-hander, which is 8 before the carousel.
Chris Buescher right now he's in 6th. This is critical time for him too. He wants all these guys to go down pit road so that he can lead a lap, because he has not led a lap here today, and yet Ty Dillon and Chase Elliott have both guys that he's racing in points.
A great aggressive move by the 2 of Brian Scott to take the lead. Take a look at this. Almost pushing the 9 of Chase Elliott off the track as they come into turn 14. He backs off just a bit and then does the crossover move and takes the lead going uphill.
He either missed a shift right there, or he didn't realize the 22 was back there, and to Dale's point, it looked like he wanted to get back behind the 2 and then go down to pit road.
Chase Elliott falling back after being dominant for 23 laps out in front. He had problems just moments ago.
Grass on grill.
A little bit off track.
Oh, wow. We're going to have to watch his grill. This could be a problem, but he is getting ready to pit anyway.
Yeah, it's time to get on pit road anyway, but got very, very lucky that he didn't tear up a lot of things right there.
And we have to remember where he has been as we ride along with him as he went off track. We have to remember where he was all race long. He was out front, clean racetrack, not having to deal with anybody else. Well, now the second he gets behind other cars, all of a sudden he's off track.
You know, just listen, looking at it right there, he obviously was a little too aggressive on that inside curve. Shot him loose.
Well, everything changes when you're not out front. When you're out there, he had a comfortable lead from the very beginning, from turn 3 on in the first part of that race. Your whole view changes. Everything that you do, where you're braking, everything that you were doing before, where you were getting into gas, all of that changes, and then the next thing you know, you make a slight mistake, which we said they couldn't make, and then you find yourself losing a lot of time to these other cars that you were talking about that have tires. Maybe they're not going to get tires when they come down pit road, just get the fuel, so then he finds himself at a real deficit.
Yeah, and let's keep in mind, I mean, this kid has done an exceptionally great job, and his dad obviously has mentored him very well, but he's still a young man. You're going to get frazzled out there in this race car, and it's very difficult on these big race courses like this for the crew chief to be able to get in there and calm him down. So you're looking at not just a 1 and a 2 spotter, but a 4th, 5th, and a 6th spotter that you're looking for to help calm somebody down. That's more difficult because you don't have normal spotters 5 and 6 deep.
As these two continue to race for the lead, Brian Scott out front, Ryan Blaney running 2nd. Chase Elliott's worst road course finish is 7th, and right now he's running 7th. Still has to come to pit road, as do Brian Scott and Ryan Blaney. They were on pit road last at lap 12. Brendan Gaughan, running 3rd, was on pit road at lap 15. Justin Marks, Chris Buescher, both were on pit road at lap 12 as well. They are the top 5.
I think we're really seeing some of these crew chiefs play this a little on the conservative side, really expecting a green-white checker here today and understanding that they need to make this a little bit later pit stop. We haven't seen many cautions, so they're going to stretch this just a little bit to give them a little bit of security.
Yeah, and keep in mind, well, here comes the 2nd place car.
Ryan Blaney decided to come onto pit road.
Chris Buescher behind him, a bunch of them coming down.
Seeing a few making their way onto pit road.
Chase Elliott. Ty Dillon. Now this is critical. Watch this. Ty Dillon's going to come and probably get gas only right here, guys. And Chase Elliott's going to have to get his 4 tires. They're right beside each other on pit road.
Mike.
And Ty Dillon coming in, hitting his marks on pit road. Fuel can is attached, getting as much fuel in as they can, and as an efficient manner, he stalls it coming off pit road. Refired, though, and he's away. Kelly.
Ryan Blaney in the 22 started loose, but then got tight after they made adjustments last time around. You see him giving him fresh tires there, making his first road course start. Ryan Blaney's off, and the 9 of Chase Elliott. He said his temperatures were starting to climb after he had grass on the grill, so they climbed him in, but this was his fuel window. They stuck to the plan, Dave.
Buescher's crew chief Scott Graves told me explicitly we need to come a little bit later because of those green-white checkered possibilities. So Chris gets 4 tires plus fuel. Justin Marks on and off pit road with 4 tires and fuel as well.
Just 16 laps to go. And the driver who had been so dominant out front now finds himself back behind a few that will not have to come to pit road. We'll see if he's able to work his way back up. That's Chase Elliott. Elliott still running in the top 15.
For those who play by their own rules, the ones who need a new breed of side-by-side, forged from over 130 years of Kawasaki engineering, built Kawasaki strong to take care of business. Get out there, get your hands dirty, get it done. The Mule Pro Series has got your back, capability, and strength for whatever lies ahead.
Everyone loves their iPhone. And now with the iPhone Forever from Sprint, you can always get the latest iPhone, so you never have to wait to upgrade. No more waiting and no more being jealous of that guy who always has it.
Join the iPhone Forever revolution. Now, get an iPhone for $15 a month. And you can bring it back to us and upgrade to the latest anytime, again and again. That's forever. It's included in your monthly rate. Only from Sprint.
This is the Ford F-150, and this changes everything.
And so does this. Drive any new 2015 Ford F-150 with 0% financing for 72 months. See your local Ford dealer today.
Sonic hot dogs are so great.
If you had to pick your favorite, which would you say it was?
Oh, I can't do that.
If I forced
that's like
you to pick
asking a parent to pick between their favorite children.
If you had to.
Actually, I had to pick.
I'm forcing you.
Chicago dog.
Okay. Boom.
Yeah.
There you go.
Because
See?
it doesn't get all mouthy at bath time, you know, because it doesn't repeat everything I say right back to her mother. I mean, what is the point of that?
With 6 great flavors starting at $1.99, Sonic is America's hot dog headquarters. And don't forget our half-price shakes after 8 p.m. This is how you Sonic.
Horsepower isn't just for NASCAR. It's for your car. It's for off-road and the on-ramp. You need it when you're drifting. You want it when you're passing. Get more of it with the K&N high-flow air filter, designed to increase horsepower with up to 50% more airflow. Because whether your green light flashes here or here, everyone loves that fast car smell.
Welcome back. Race leader Brendan Gaughan in front of Paul Menard. Gaughan came to pit road on lap 15. He will have to still pit.
Yeah, absolutely. But Paul Menard, he came on that caution on lap 24, and he feels like right now that there's a possibility. I could see him trying to stretch this thing because a lot of guys, like Boris said, have come to pit road here.
Listen into what Paul Menard had to say on the radio and his team.
So there you go. We've got 3 different strategies going on. He pitted when the 54. He pitted when the 3 did. The 54, Boris said, and the 3 of Ty Dillon and some others have come back down pit road just now when Brian Scott, the leader of the race, came down pit road. But they only put fuel in. Took them about 3 seconds to do it. And all of a sudden, we're looking here, and Boris said is ahead of what was the race leader in Brian Scott now.
Yeah, and Paul Menard right now, he is saving fuel. He's running about a second slower than what Brendan Gaughan is right there. He's got no reason to go. He's 9 seconds, almost 9 seconds ahead of the next car behind him. So he can save as much as he wants to right now. This is his opportunity to do that, Dave.
DJ, they told him exactly how much to save. 2 gallons was the word. How does a driver do that?
On a road course, almost impossible, but you can. When you're in his position, and the ways that you do it, you back out sooner, you short shift, which means that you'll go from 2nd gear to 3rd gear at a lower RPM. You won't run it up as high, which means that you're wide open more. So you try not to be in the throttle as much. You're letting the car roll and coast a little bit more. Your shifts are a lot smoother. So there's a lot you can do, but to save 2 gallons, I can't even. This is a big place, and I know there's a lot of opportunities, but that is a lot. He's probably going to need a caution for that to happen.
And remember, these cars, the horsepower and everything, they get a little over 4 miles to the gallon. Remember, this is a 4-mile racetrack, so they're looking about 2 laps of fuel that they need. Front of the field, it's still Brendan Gaughan. He has to come to pit road. Paul Menard and these drivers all fighting for it. State NASCAR nonstop.
Uh-oh, warning light. Suddenly, your car's a rolling time bomb, or worse. But at AutoZone, we're not afraid of that little light. We have what you need to make it right and put you at ease. It's called The Zone, and we'll help get you there.
Searching for a great used car? Can you help? Start with the millions of used cars for sale at the new Carfax.com.
Show me cars with no accidents. Show me no accidents and one owner. Show me no accident, one owner cars with service records. That's awesome.
That's the power of Carfax. Find the cars you want, avoid the ones you don't. Plus, you get a free Carfax report with every listing. Start your used car search at Carfax.com.
We spend a lot of time online around here. But with all this speed from Xfinity, it's all good. Hey, why don't we do some homework for a change? Gary, you too.
Dad, work stuff?
Yes, love of the new design. Konnichiwa, Hiro-san. 5 minutes. All this speed is very empowering. Check out the new hardware.
With the fastest, most reliable in-home Wi-Fi, Xfinity is perfect for people who need to get a lot done at home.
Busy day, huh?
Yep, our annual clearance event really brings them in. I can barely keep up by myself.
0% APR financing. Tons of amazing inventory.
Only happens once a year. Hologram number 17 seems to have gone rogue.
I'm the real Jan now. 0%, 0%.
At our annual clearance event, get 0% APR financing on a 2015 RAV4. Offer ends September 8th. For great deals on other Toyotas, visit Toyota.com.
It's all yours.
Thanks, Jan.
Toyota, let's go places.
This is what it looks like when real people playing fantasy football win $1 million. And now that football's back at DraftKings.com, the one-week fantasy sports destination, you could get your share of $10 million week one. Just pick your sport, pick your players, and pick up your cash. Play with promo code FOOTBALL and get free entry at our Millionaire Maker event week one. Winner gets $2 million. Get to DraftKings.com now.
Welcome back to Road America. Paul Menard now out front. Brendan Gaughan came to pit road to put on 4 tires and fuel for his car. He can make it to the end now. The question is, can Paul Menard save enough fuel to also make it to the end? He came on lap 24. The crew chief told him, save me 2 gallons of gas. And DJ, you said that's going to be hard to do.
Going to be hard to do, but he's really slowed his pace down. He's literally running 4 and 5 seconds slower than Borstead and Regan Smith and Ty Dillon. So he is doing his part right now. The lead that he had that was over 9 seconds had been cut way down at this point in time. That's not what he's concerned about right now. He's just trying to save as much as he possibly can for the guys that he may possibly have to race later.
So looking back on the score pylon, we've got Darrell Wallace Jr. that is 7th. Regan Smith made the pass on Borstead for 8th. Borstead in 9th. Ty Dillon in 10th. Those drivers, we're guessing right now, but we believe they can make it to the end. So looking at Darrell Wallace Jr., as long as he's able to stay in front of Regan Smith, which right now he has about a 5-second lead over Regan Smith, he could potentially end up the leader of this race as we close down on these laps.
Yeah, but he's being picked up by 2 seconds a lap on these guys. And honestly, when he pitted, he's still right there on the edge, probably still looking for a caution. Boris, Ty Dillon, and Regan Smith, they're in the catbird seat right here because Paul Menard, he's got 10 more laps, 12 more laps to go in this race. 5 seconds a lap. He's only 31 seconds ahead of those guys right now. It's going to be gone here in another 6 or 7 laps.
At that point in time, you've got to get out of fuel conservation mode and go into, I've got to stay in front of these guys.
If this goes green from here, trust me, to the end, Regan Smith, Borstead, and Ty Dillon are going to be racing for the lead.
But again, don't forget about Darrell Wallace Jr., who came to pit road later, filled up with gas on lap 26, as opposed to the lap 24 with Paul Menard.
But he's only 5 seconds ahead of Ty Dillon and Regan Smith right now, and he's running about 1.5 seconds to almost 2 seconds slower.
Blake Cook running 2nd. Ross Chastain running 3rd. Pretty impressive for some of these young drivers.
Yeah, interesting top 5 with it. David Starr there, Kevin O'Connell, who had a great finish here last year, right up there. So I'm sure those guys are saving some fuel. The likelihood that they can make it, gosh, I don't know. But they've got nothing to lose, really, most of those.
They have nothing to lose. Absolutely right, DJ. And one of the reasons why is, listen, if this thing happens to go and we get a caution with like 3 to go, now all these guys are up there and they've got old tires. They could come down pit road, put on fresh tires, get their fuel, and now they're behind Boris and them, but they've got fresh tires.
So again, Paul Menard out in front. Running second is the 8th of Blake Cook. Let's see what kind of strategy they have. We listened into their radio.
That 33 has to save 2 gallons. We did not. We have to save a half a lap. Pass him, and you can save fuel still.
And that is what he just did. Blake Cook just went by the 33 for the lead.
Boy, he pitted it last on lap 24. Boy, if he only got half a gallon, that's a big fuel cell.
Well, that would be just outside the window that we predicted that these guys would be able to go. So maybe if he's saving fuel, they said a half a lap of fuel. That's quite a bit better than 2 gallons.
Problem is that's 2 miles. We're not at Bristol. Right. Half a lap.
And Ross Chastain stayed right behind him, so it's hard now to save fuel when you've got a guy that's racing you for the lead.
Yeah, but how great is it for these guys to be up here leading? They're leading this Xfinity race at Road America.
Yeah, and Ross Chastain in second right now. I mean, absolutely.
Dave.
And Rick, Paul Menard was told to let the 01 and the 8 car go by. And it was only because he has to save so much fuel. Yeah, they may have to as well, and that may not be the winning strategy, but there's no way they get to the checkers if this stays green if Paul doesn't slow down.
And Michael Self in the 4 also gets by Paul Menard. Menard saving fuel, 11 laps to go at Road America. Welcome back. The caution has come out. Now, how does that play into the hands of the drivers that were trying to save fuel? That's Ben Rhodes, that's off track and stuck in the gravel pit right up against the tire barriers. That was out of turn 7, just before he gets to the sharp left-hander. So the 88 of Ben Rhodes brings the caution out. We have under 10 laps of racing to go. Out front is Blake Cook. Could this be enough of a fuel saving situation that Blake Cook can go hard the rest of this race and steal a win?
But do everything right as a driver under this caution, you can save a lot of fuel right here. With this course being 4 miles long, there's a lot that you can do there. So he can probably get, the way that they were talking with what he needed to save, he can probably get that done. It's going to be a little bit of time before they get that car away from there, so he can probably get that. Now, he doesn't want to see a green-white checker, but all he's interested right now is the advertised distance, and that's where they want to get to.
Yeah, and from what his team said, they only needed to have had a half a gallon or a half a lap. So 1 lap around here is going to get him that. Paul Menard, he needs about 3 laps of caution, and if he gets that with what he already previously saved, he's going to be okay. If it goes just the advertised distance, if it's green-white checker, all bets are off. But now you're going to have a situation where we got Chase Elliott back here in 17th, who didn't play out the right strategy. He stayed on the racetrack when he should have come down pit road and then just done gas and go like everybody else did. He could come down and get tires right now, and tires are going to be worth a lot driving back up through the field, especially with these guys that are on old tires and going to be slow at the front.
So Blake Cook in the 8 out in front. His career best finish, 11th at Homestead back in 2013. They're already talking about the restart and what he needs to do. We listened to his radio.
But you know what it gets like on these restarts. No matter what happens, I want you to protect yourself here. You know, don't take no crap, but you protect yourself.
Well, here's the big thing for a young driver that hasn't been in this position. He's got older tires on, so he's riding around here. He's actually saving fuel, so he's picking up, the hot tires are picking up any debris that's out there, any rubber that might get on there. So in saving fuel, you really can't scrub that off. The next thing is, he's so excited to be leading this race, charging down into turn 1. You don't want to miss that corner, and then everything that you've worked for has gone out the window. He might not crash, but he could lose 2 or 3 spots quickly. So just keeping the driver calm and make sure whenever you get ready to go back to green that you get those tires cleaned off.
Yeah, the one good thing for him right here is that the cars that are behind him are not guys that are going to just drive by him right there. You know, they're in his category of speed-wise. Paul Menard's going to be in the opposite lane of him on the restart here, so Paul's going to be bunched up to where he can't just drive up by him.
Very few cars making the right-hand turn to go onto pit road.
And that's really why the one strategy you pointed out there just a minute ago, Frank, that they could come down and get tires here. There's too many people on the lead lap. You're not going to be able to make up enough spots with this few coming down.
Kelly.
And you see Elliott Sadler there in the one car. He has finished in the top 10 the last 9 times we have run on road courses, looking to keep that streak alive. He's been fighting a loose car throughout this race. You see they're going to give him 4 fresh Goodyear tires to get him to the end of this one. And he's off and away now.
They continue to try to get the 88s of Ben Rhodes out of that gravel pit. Look how deep that car has got. The Verizon IndyCar Series will crown a champion tomorrow. Juan Pablo Montoya takes a 34-point lead over Graham Rahal into the 85-lap title-deciding race for the Astor Cup. Indy Sonoma tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern on NBCSN. Of course, racing for a championship, but also with heavy hearts in the memory of Justin Wilson. At the track, Michael Self in the 4 was not keeping up the cautious pace. So he was trying to save some fuel. NASCAR has said that the 33 will be able to start in front of the 4. What that does is that gives Paul Menard an inside lane start position, which potentially could put him to the inside of Blake Cook on this restart.
Huge difference right there, because you got to remember the 33, he's got the best car right there at the front of the field, but he let the 8 go, he let the 01 go under the green out there just to make sure he saved fuel because he needed more fuel.
Blake Cook out in front. Let's hear from his crew chief, Mike.
A potential upset in the works here right now, Rick, catching up with his crew chief, Matt Lucas. It was a risk staying out there. How far can you go on fuel?
We think we can make it all the way then. This caution really helps for sure. But based on what we saw the first 2 stops, we're right there. We're right there.
If you were able to pull this off and stay up front, what would this mean to you and this team? I mean, it's certainly an underdog story right now.
It'd certainly be an incredible day. It'd be a great story for Lee Filter and Blake Cook, and we'd take it all with a big smile for sure.
Long way to go, though, Dave.
This is the caution that Danny Stockman wanted for Paul Menard, but will it let him race, and to what distance?
Yeah, we're good now. I guess you can say that's why this is exciting. Fuel mileage racing and trying to push it and try to get the win is what we're here to do. And I felt like at 24 it was iffy, but we needed this caution, and we had a good enough lead to where we could save for 4 or 5 laps pretty heavily. So we should be good on fuel. I guess time will tell.
How about a green, white checkered? One of those?
I don't know about all that, but we'll just see how it goes here.
All right. How about exciting and nerve-wracking, guys?
Yeah, Dave, why'd you bring that up to him? He was feeling so good and confident. They're like, oh, no, green, white checker would not be good.
You're not very nice, Dave.
And again, a few cars ducking onto pit road. As we're still under caution, we have 8 laps to go. We'll find out who's able to hang on. Could Blake Cook get a win at Road America? And welcome back to Road America. Things changed once again. The 0-1 of Ross Chastain went on to pit road. And so now that takes that position and puts Paul Menard up on the front row with Blake Cook. So we had mentioned that Paul Menard was going to restart behind Blake Cook. Now he moves up onto the front row with Blake Cook. Now it's a matter of who can restart the best.
Yeah, probably even better situation for Paul Menard, because his only passing opportunity trying to get by the 8 may have been through the grass down into turn 1. Now he's going to be beside him, can't outbreak him or just stay beside him to get position.
And the 0-1 of Ross Chastain had this to say on the radio.
Or can we run a few laps? How many laps can we run?
We can run till about lap 43, and then we'll be out of gas, maybe 42.
Say if we,
but I think we need to pit while it's yellow rather than pitting under green.
That's the 7 stopped on the track. Regan Smith, potentially issues for Regan Smith, who
you got
had been so strong on these road courses. Kelly, what's going on?
And Regan just came over and said he needs a safety truck push. He said the battery just died. They're discussing it right now, trying to figure out where he is on track.
Wow, that is huge points implications for him right there.
That's turn 5, actually just off of turn 5 for Regan Smith.
We got 27 cars in the lead lap here today still. And this is going to help Palmenard a little bit more because we will not be able to go green now.
So more fuel being saved by the 33.
But here's the downside to continuing this caution and for some of these guys is that the closer you get to down towards the 3-lap to go barrier, now all of a sudden you invite the opportunity for green-white checkers. And we've seen here in the past
that's happened
good
before.
Opportunity for green-white checkers.
It's happened before.
Yeah, somebody we're going to really have to keep an eye on here, too, is the 54, Boris said. As these things continue to happen, he continues to move up in the order, and we know that he can be very aggressive with nothing to lose here. So you have to watch him and the 22 of Ryan Blaney, who's in a spot. We've seen him be very aggressive on the restarts all day.
Yeah, these guys are seeing sugar plums right now. I mean, Regan Smith has been the best car right there around Ty Dillon and Boris said.
At the beginning of the show, we mentioned the 3 drivers that are running for a championship, or the 3 that have separated themselves. With Chris Buescher, point leader, he has Ty Dillon entering this race, was just 19 points behind. And then you had Chase Elliott, who was just 23 points behind. As they run with 8 laps to go, here's the championship standings now. Chris Buescher, a 16-point lead over Ty Dillon and a 24-point lead over Chase Elliott.
Yes, and take a picture of that because it'll probably change dramatically before we finish all of this wildness that's going to happen.
Well, and we talked about it going in on the pre-race show that this was a wild card. Nick Harrison talked about it being a wild card type race. Ty Dillon is the highest one right now in 8th. But before this race here on the other 2 road races, these guys, the 3 of them combined, never finished anywhere worse than 7th. So
they've decided that they will go around at least one more time. So we'll take another quick break. 7 laps to go from Road America.
Mother Nature can turn in an instant. Don't turn back. Introducing the new 2016 Ford Explorer. Be unstoppable.
This is my fight song.
In the garage or out and about, Wrangler knows the ins and outs of comfort.
With new styles and great fits, you look good for any occasion. And they're built with 4-way flex technology that moves with you for all-day comfort.
Wrangler, real comfortable jeans.
Horsepower isn't just for NASCAR. It's for your car. It's for off-road and the on-ramp. You need it when you're drifting. You want it when you're passing. Get more of it with the K&N high-flow air filter, designed to increase horsepower with up to 50% more airflow. Because whether your green light flashes here or here, everyone loves that fast car smell.
Everyone loves their iPhone. And now with the iPhone Forever from Sprint, you can always get the latest iPhone, so you never have to wait to upgrade. No more waiting and no more being jealous of that guy who always has it.
Join the iPhone Forever revolution. Now, get an iPhone for $15 a month. And you can bring it back to us and upgrade to the latest anytime, again and again. That's forever. It's included in your monthly rate. Only from Sprint.
Hey, searching for a great used car? You got it. Just say, show me millions of used cars for sale at the all-new Carfax.com, where now you can search with the power of Carfax. Just say, show me cars with no accidents reported. Boom. Or how about, show me cars with only 1 owner. Pretty cool. Plus, we're the only site where you get a free Carfax report with every car listed. So find the cars you want, avoid the ones you don't. Start your used car search at Carfax.com.
In the garage or out and about, Wrangler knows the ins and outs of comfort.
With new styles and great fits, you look good for any occasion. And they're built with 4-way flex technology that moves with you for all-day comfort.
Wrangler, real comfortable jeans.
Today's aerial coverage provided by our partners at Smithfield Foods. Sun shining on a few different parts of this racetrack. Out in front of the field, it's Blake Cook. A lot of people are saying, Blake Cook, who is that? Well, he is in a position where he could win this race, but the 33 of Paul Menard will now restart on his outside. One guy who's got his eye on that 33 is the driver of the 54. This is what they had to say on the radio.
Make it to the 33 now, huh? Yeah, it'll be close. All we can hope for is that he's not good for green-white checkers. We're good for a couple of them, so never know. There's a lot of these other cars here that are slow. There could be problems for sure, so if we pass him, it doesn't matter if he's got enough fuel.
That's a good point. If we pass him, it doesn't matter. They can run out behind us.
That's always easier said than done.
Yeah.
But you got to have a plan going in, so that's the plan. Just go past him, and you're not worried about it. Oh, this will make things exciting.
Well, a little bit of fluid in turn 1. Definitely not a good place to have fluid because you're going very fast on the restarts into turn number 1.
So they're going to need another lap to get that blown off and off the track.
This is playing right into Paul Menard's hand.
Let's look back on how we have got to this point with our race recap. That was Ben Rhodes off track early on lap 5.
Had to pit early because of overheating from the grass.
Here we see Brian Scott take the lead from the 9 of Chase Elliott. Didn't look like anybody had anything. They had a great battle. Ryan Blaney there to take advantage of that too and move in second.
And then Chase Elliott, he lost the lead. Looks like he's a little frazzled. Overdrive the car, hooks the curb, gets off in the mud. They've got problems.
Then, of course, Paul Menard. Michael Self in front of him in the 4. And that allowed the 33 of Paul Menard to go by because the 4 was not keeping a cautious pace. The 01 of Ross Chastain decides to pit. That moves the 33 up to the front row. So now Paul Menard will restart second when the green flag flies again.
Yeah, he's moved up 2 spots and hadn't even done anything. Just right around under Carlson.
Saving fuel.
Saving fuel.
And that's exactly what they needed to do. Danny Stockman letting him know that he'll have enough to go the distance as long as they don't have a green-white checker.
There's some really good cars stacked up behind him back there. Ryan Blaney, Ty Dillon, Boris Said, and Brian Scott, who was the leader earlier and driving away from people.
Yeah, and we've seen the start of the race and the restarts be rather calm down here because we kind of set up that turn 1. That now it's going to get exciting whenever we go to green. These guys understand that there aren't many laps to go. They've got to get everything that they can.
There will be 6 to go, and we're hearing that there's some more fluid in turn 1, so the lights are probably going to come back on the pace car here in just a moment, letting them know they won't go back to green with 6 to go. Potentially a 5-lap shootout. Blake Cook, who's been out front for 4 laps today, has just set a new career record for laps led. Coming into this race, he had led 3 in his career.
You know what? That's nice to see. I mean, this is one of the more underfunded teams, if you will. But they are a multi-car team. Mark Smith owns these programs, and they do a nice job coming in here and running every week and supporting the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, and Blake Cook's a really good driver. Nice young man and really has a lot of talent. It's just a matter of getting yourself in the right spots to move your career forward. But what a great win this could be. A lot of work to do, obviously. Right. We're talking about that. He's the leader right now, but a lot of work whenever we go back to green.
Yeah, and a shout out to the sponsor, Leaf Filters, for supporting a young kid like that, because that's good to see. We don't want always to be the cup drivers to get the sponsors. We need to support this series, and it's great for them to do that.
And we can't forget about Paul Menard will restart on his outside. You've got Michael Self and David Starr just behind him in row 2. Also could steal a win. Or what about Darrell Wallace Jr. back there in 5th? NBC goes back in time next weekend with a full slate of NASCAR racing live from Darlington. Sunday, September 6th, it's Sprint Cup Series racing from the Lady in Black. The coverage begins Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern with Xfinity Series racing from Darlington, presented by K&N. A great Labor Day weekend of racing on NBC. Mike Massaro.
And let's catch up with one of the crew chiefs that's in the mix right now. The crew chief for Michael Self is Wayne Setterington. Wayne, you're in position to pull off quite an upset today. How would you assess your chances right now?
I feel real good about our chances. Michael's a road race specialist per se. He does a really good job in these road courses. This is only his 4th Xfinity start, so He's gained a lot of experience in these races and feel really good about it. These cautions have obviously helped get us to where we need to be from a fuel mileage standpoint. So hopefully everything will work out here for us in the end, and Johnny Davis Motorsports can have a banner day, and auto remote warehouse and one-stop key fob shop, and come on board for a couple races with Michael and that, and hopefully we can get a good finish for him here today.
A lot of drama here in these closing laps, Dave.
Mike, Seth Barber last brought the 6 car of Darrell Wallace Jr. down pit road on lap 26. Does he have enough fuel to get to the end, and how racy is he?
Yeah, we've got plenty of fuel to the end. We're good to 1 green, white checkered. Bubba's done a nice job so far. This is his first time here. The car's not quite what it needs to be. We've got some good cars behind us, but anything can happen here.
Restarting from 5th will be the 6 car. Kelly?
And Chris Gale calls a shot for Boris Said in the 54 car. You made your full service stop under caution, then came in for a splash of fuel. But how do you expect this thing to play out here at the end?
Wow, it's going to be eventful here at the end. I expect, a lot of guys up there that haven't been up there. I expect there to be a lot of chaos on this restart. And hopefully we can get at least 1, if not 2 green, white checkers, because we're plenty good on fuel. And I know a few others are really close. Hopefully that'll play out well for us.
All right, Boris will restart 6th. Rick?
Yeah, this isn't good. Blake Cook, if we've talked about the possibility of him winning, now not even under power on the track. Take a look at what happened. Again, these drivers are shutting the cars off, restarting them, trying to save fuel. And it piles up behind the 8. It looks like he just didn't get it to fire again.
Yeah, sometimes as you turn it off, there's not enough fuel there or in the right spot to get it pulling again. Mike?
And guys, it's not fuel, it's voltage. It sounds like he just could not get the thing refired. Battery didn't come back to life.
Well, but it's still not running right now with getting a push, so there may be more problems than that.
Unbelievable for Blake Cook.
He should be able to put it in gear right here and get a push start to get it to jump.
He was 5 laps away from potentially a career best finish at the very least, and maybe taking a win away from some of these drivers who you expect to see in victory lane every weekend, like a Paul Menard, who comes here in his off weekend from the Cup Series to race in his home state. And now through these caution laps, Paul Menard has gained 3 spots and the lead.
And it's a big change right there at the back, because all they did was move the inside row up. So now the 22 of Ryan Blaney is actually side by side with Boris Said on this restart, where before Boris had a row ahead of him.
And the 33 of Paul Menard, he does not get to choose either inside or outside lane. He just moves up 1 spot. So he was, or the inside lane gets to move up 1 spot. He's not able to move over into that inside lane. So that now puts Michael Self on the inside of row 1. We had just mentioned, what would it be like to steal one? Well, he's got a great opportunity. The preferred line is he goes into turn number 1 when this race restarts.
If it restarts.
It will. We know it will.
But we've got a few more guys that are going to be low on fuel here, and as they just keep running out on this course because it's so big, it's difficult for NASCAR to get them and get them back to pit road.
Yeah, and that inside line is going to be quite an interesting. You got some fast cars there that really are going to be in the preferred line as they go down into turn 1, and even as they get down to turn 3, would still be in that. So going to be interesting to see just how aggressive they get and if everybody makes it through.
And we know Bubba Wallace is going to be aggressive. We've seen that on the oval tracks.
So Paul Menard now on the front row. He was in 3rd place. Michael Self slow on the track, so Paul Menard is able to move by. You've got to keep up a cautious pace. Then Ross Chastain, who was 2nd, he comes off of the track, goes onto pit road. That moves the 33 up to the 2nd spot. And then when Blake Cook has issues with his car, that puts Paul Menard in the front row and considered the race leader.
And
all under caution.
All under caution. Think of this. A few laps ago, Paul Menard was the guy that had the most fuel. He's the one that needed the most fuel. He was 2 gallons short. And now all of a sudden, these guys have helped him cause cautions. He's got plenty of fuel now, we hope, we think.
Dave, how about the points leader? How are they doing?
Yeah, Chris Buescher's running 9th. Scott Graves is watching all of this. What's going through your mind as we wind down here and don't start up?
A little bit of frustration. Just like to get going here. I know our Fastenal Mustang is really fast. Just got to get a chance to get our spots back here. And I know there's a lot of guys that are on a different strategy trying to save fuel. Obviously, this is helping them quite a bit. What we need to do is get going, though. We've got plenty of fuel, green, white checkers, everything. So we might even catch one of those. Historically here, you get a lot of that. So if we get a green, white checker, some of these guys might run out as well, and we end up in a better spot. So we'll see how it plays out. A lot happens, as we found out last week in the last lap or two. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we hope better for you this week on the fuel thing. Mike?
Well, the 8 team obviously very disappointed on pit road. They're going to change 4 tires and fuel, but they're also going to change a battery. The car has refired, but they haven't changed the battery out just yet. That's the plan. They've just discarded the battery. Doesn't look like they're actually going to make that change as the car is refired. And now they're just going to complete the service now on this machine. But obviously a big disappointment for the 8, Kelly.
And Greg Irwin sits atop the box for the 22. Sorry, his driver, Ryan Blaney, will restart 5th. How about that young kid? He has sure been racy.
Yeah, he's doing a good job today, really all weekend. He's kept it on the racetrack. Discount Tire Mustang's been very fast, and for his first time road course racing in an Xfinity car, he's got a lot to be proud of. We know he's, we won a truck race last year, but I don't know. With all these yellows right here, it kind of threw the whole mix out, and we've got guys running out of gas and batteries dying, and we don't seem to be able to get this thing going. So the opportunity that we had to make a run at the lead, I think, is going away here. But we're going to give it all we got.
All right, I'll let you get to it. Thank you, Greg. Rick?
Well, it's been a crazy caution. It started off, we had fluid, and then we had cars that weren't able to stay running. We've had battery issues, and so we've ended up having 6 laps of caution under this, just the 3rd caution of the day.
Yeah, and let's clean up the Blake Cook situation there a little bit. He didn't have a battery problem. The car was so low on fuel, he got a little bit complacent, didn't slosh it back and forth enough to keep the pickup full. And then when he ran out of gas, he couldn't get it to refire because there was no fuel in there. And then when the pickup truck was pushing him, he didn't turn it back and forth enough even then. Once they came down pit road and put fuel in it, then he was able to get it fired.
Mike.
And that may very well be the case, Frank, but the team is a little bit confused. They took out the battery. They looked at the battery. They felt like the battery was not, it just came unplugged. That's what they told me. Now, but your assessment certainly makes a lot of sense, though.
And normally they have a backup on these as well.
Those don't unplug very easy.
Yeah.
So
now we're coming up on 4 to go when we get to the start-finish line.
Yeah, so I wanted to clarify something here. The 33 is going to be in charge of the restart, but because they were already lined up, he's considered the leader, but they already had their lanes lined up. But he will be in charge. Once they get up here, it will be up to Paul Menard to restart this race.
And when you say that, there is a restart zone. It is just in front of the flag stand and the start-finish line. When they get into that restart zone, it is Paul Menard's job to restart this race. If he doesn't restart by the single red line on the wall, if he does not restart at the flagman, will take care of restarting the race. So Paul Menard in the 33 on the outside, the 4 of Michael Self on the inside. As they come up the hill, we will have 4 laps of racing to go. Can Michael Self hold on that inside line? They're entering the restart zone now. Green flag back in the air.
There goes Bubba on the inside.
Darrell Wallace Jr. to the inside. Paul Menard with a great restart. Out in front of the field as they work their way into turn number 1.
Porsche is bottled up behind these slower cars.
Brian Scott also in the 2. In an aggressive move up into the 4th spot. The 22 of Ryan Blaney taking that position away. Michael Self holding on to 3rd. It's Paul Menard and Darrell Wallace Jr. 1 and 2 as they race around Road America.
Bubba Wallace doing a great job here. He said every time he's run a road course, he's learned a little bit more. We saw him have some issues yesterday in practice staying on the track, but right there in a position to possibly get his first win.
How about Michael Self holding off Ryan Blaney right there? We're already through 3 or 4 corners here, and he's still in 3rd.
Hard left-hander, and again, Darrell Wallace Jr. all over the back bumper of Paul Menard. Here comes Ryan Blaney to the outside of the 4 of Michael Self.
Can't make the pass, can't finish it. Got another run coming here, though.
Now the left-hander, Darrell Wallace Jr. almost into the back of the 33. Paul Menard goes to the outside. Here comes Darrell Wallace Jr. as they race for the lead.
Yeah, in the carousel, the inside there is the preferred line. Wallace putting a lot of pressure right here, though.
And now they go to turn 11 and then through Kettle Bottoms. A little gap now between the two.
Yeah, but another hard braking area coming up here in the Canada corner down at turn 12.
And another great passing opportunity for some of these guys with great brakes late in the race.
We'll see if Darrell Wallace Jr. will aggressively brake, as they will have 3 laps to go when they finish this lap.
He actually overdrives that corner a little bit, and he's going to have a mare full of Ryan Blaney.
Coming into turn 14, Paul Menard being chased by Darrell Wallace Jr., Ryan Blaney. Back up the hill they go. Here comes Ryan Blaney.
Big time block right there. Ryan is not going to be impressed with Bubba.
And off the track, the two are best friends. Darrell Wallace Jr., Ryan Blaney.
All bets are off right now in the friendship.
Now they're racers. Trying for that position. Ryan Blaney's taken second away from Darrell Wallace Jr.
Paul and I didn't want to see that.
No, and that was a great move by Blaney right there to get your car woe down under control. You don't want to work hard to make that pass and then give it all back just because you overshoot the corner.
Through 3 and down this long straightaway. They'll get to speeds upwards of 165 miles an hour before they get into turn 5.
Yeah, 2 drivers looking for their first Xfinity win, sitting there in 3rd and 4th with Bubba Wallace and Brian Scott. They know things could get interesting up here in the front with these 2.
And if it does get interesting, Boris Stead is in 5th. He's still looking to make a move.
Paul Menard holding off Ryan Blaney. Hard left-hander.
Chase Elliott has moved up to 8th, Ty Dillon 9th. Battle for the point lead.
Yeah, both ahead of Chris Buescher right now, who's sitting in 11th, just outside the top 10.
And 2 out of those 3 led a lap here today. Chris Buescher did not.
The gap, 0.2 of a second. That's closed now as Ryan Blaney all over the back bumper of Paul Menard.
Wow, he slipped up pretty sideways right there himself. Bubba Wallace back on him.
That's the thing that right now Ryan Blaney's going to have to do is make sure that he doesn't take a chance of losing that second spot and getting an opportunity to capitalize at a really good passing zone. Don't overdrive it in a spot that's really not going to make the difference of whether you make a pass right at that point in time or not.
I'm impressed with Darrell Wallace right here. We haven't talked about him all weekend long, but he's right in the thick of this thing, and he's learning a lot right here watching this 22 of Ryan Blaney.
Paul Menard out in front. Ryan Blaney running second. Darrell Wallace Jr. is third. Brian Scott running fourth.
We talk about everybody else in the job they're doing. How about the guy leading the race? Paul Menard's been out there doing a fantastic job. Probably not the best handling car right now, but he's able to keep these guys behind him at this point in time.
And you wonder, I mean, you know, he's still, I'm sure, concerned about the fuel. I mean, we know that he can probably make it to the end, but green-white checker problems could be a problem for him.
This time by 2 laps of racing to go from Road America.
He's got a mare full of Ryan Blaney now, making a move on the inside.
Here comes Blaney. He looked at the inside as they go down into turn number 1. Menard still with a 1-car lead over that 22.
Let's go, man. You got it. Go get him.
I just saw Chase Elliott to the inside of Boris Stead. It looked like going down into turn 1. He's making a move.
Ryan Blaney all over the back bumper of Paul Menard. Rocket downhill into turn number 5.
You know, Paul Menard is no slouch on road courses, so Ryan Blaney's doing a heck of a job right here to put the heat on him.
Yeah, he probably has a faster car right now, but you've got a guy with a lot of experience right there. Here could be an opportunity, just a little bit of bump if he can get to the bumper up here in turn 6.
We saw it happen the last time that the Xfinity Series was on a road course. Regan Smith bumped Alex Tagliani out of the way. By the way, Alex Tagliani was driving the 22 in that race. 22 of Ryan Blaney all over the back bumper of the 33 of Paul Menard.
He really looks good on the braking, but I think that Paul looks to me like, Dale, he's really making sure that he gets off the corner very well.
Top two have separated themselves as they go through the carousel. It's 9 and 10 here at Road America. They'll come up to the kink or turn 11.
Ryan just overdrove the carousel too much right there, carried too much speed, tried to get to the gas too early, and lost 2 or 3 car lengths.
Now the long back stretch through Kettle Bottoms and into Canada's Corner.
See if Blaney can close back up again here as they get to turn 12. Really good under braking.
Wow.
As you said, Menard really good on the exit. Watch him pull back away.
That's a veteran move right there. He knows as long as he's getting back there, he's just got to make sure he beats him off the corner.
Through 13, they'll head to 14, the final turn, before they see the white flag.
I'm watching the point situation too here. Chase Elliott has come all the way back to 5th. He's passed Morris said, and Chris Buescher is in 10th right now.
Up the hill they go. Paul Menard will see the white flag one more time around Road America.
So no green, white checkers, right? We've taken the white.
The next flag will end this race. Does Ryan Blaney have enough? Can he take one more shot at the lead?
And does he use the bumper to do it?
Well, his best chance is going to be down here going into turn 6. Turn 6 and 7 and 8 right in there are going to be his best opportunities to get a bumper to him.
And then the last opportunity we really made, great opportunity when we saw him close up in this last lap was the Canada Corner, where we've seen guys use the bumper and the side of the car to move people out of the way.
Closes the gap now as they get into turn 5. Hard left-hander, hard on the brakes. Ryan Blaney all over the back of the 33. Up the hill they go to turn 6.
He's there.
Clear by half.
Into 6. Ryan Blaney puts the bumper to the back of the 33. Paul Menard's able to hold him off. Through 7. Now the hard left-hander of 8 they have to come up on.
Ryan's got to make sure he does not overdrive the carousel. That's where he lost all the time the last time. It's going to be critical. If he gets through there good, he'll have a shot in the Canada Corner.
A little bit of a bobble there by Ryan Blaney as he came out of turn number 8. The gap grows between he and Paul Menard.
Much better job through there. He kept his car 5 or 6 feet lower.
Yeah, he's still at a deficit, though. It's going to be hard to get that, make up that much ground. He's going to have to stay under control and see if he can make it to 14, where he might be able to get to the bumper at that last corner.
Now the next time they'll come into a hard braking zone will be turn 12, Canada Corner. They go through Kettle Bottoms for the last time. Into 12, Paul Menard with a 3-car length lead over the 22 of Ryan Blaney.
As long as the fuel holds up, it looks to me like he's going to have a great chance to win this thing.
That would be the other question, but after so many caution laps, he should have enough fuel. Through 13 they go and up to 14.
Don't underdrive it here, Paul.
The right-hander, Paul Menard, in front of the 22 of Ryan Blaney. In his home state, uphill he goes. Paul Menard is going to win at Road America. Paul Menard has had some big wins in his career. Won at Indianapolis, Cup Series. But winning in your home state.
Sometimes the strategy will make it. No job, boys.
Yeah, this will be super special for the entire Menard family. Obviously, the corporate headquarters of Menard's right up the street here.
Yep.
What a gamble that paid off by Danny Stockman there. That was just a great game. They're in that position, you know. They're here to win the race. And then the driving job that Paul Menard did with a couple with Bubba Wallace on his bumper at first and then young Ryan Blaney trying to get that win on the road course, just outstanding.
And so many things really had to fall in place for Paul Menard. I mean, the fact that Blake Cook, the battery issue with Blake Cook, the situation with Ross Chastain where he comes to pit road.
How about the
Michael Self having some problems on the track as well.
How about the comeback for that man right there, Regan Smith? He was down and out, put a battery in his car, drove all the way back up to 8th place.
Impressive finish for Regan Smith. Chase Elliott, right in the middle of the points battle, finishes 4th. Saw Boris said the 54 go by to congratulate Paul Menard. Ross Chastain, we mentioned he came to pit road. He has more issues than that. A lot of damage to the front of that car. Let's take a look at what happened to the 17. Also considerable damage.
Yeah, this is coming through the last corner and at turn 14.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. Looks like Brendan Gaughan was a little sideways. The 01 was sideways. And
yep, Stanton Barrett got into him. Just a 17.
Just a tough break.
So Ross Chastain, Stanton Barrett will make the trip to the infield care center. Dave, let's hear from that crew chief.
Danny Stockman said, holy smokes, after he got done congratulating the whole team. What emotions are going through your head right now?
Well, you know what? This race has been on our agenda for a while to get Paul a win here at his home track. And I'll tell you, the Menard family's done so much for this sport. And to be the team that came here and won at his home track and all that is just mind-blowing. And just glad to do it, man. Paul's so fun to work with, and like I said, he's so deserving of this. And got to thank everybody at ECR and RCR and definitely Menards, Chevrolet, and the whole company at RCR. Without them, we wouldn't be where we're at right here.
You told me this morning you were a little bit concerned about where you stood compared to Penske on road courses like this. How do you feel now?
Well, you know, I still don't think we had the best car today. You know, we were a little bit off. We had to do something to try to get ourselves out front, and we did it, and it played out.
Played out very well. The winners, the 33, the Menards car in victory lane, Rick.
And he held off the 22 of Ryan Blaney to get that win. Impressive run for Paul Menard. We will see him in victory lane when we return. The team enjoying a little victory celebration. Paul Menard pulled the front of the 33 right up against pit road wall and did a nice little burnout for the team and the fans here. Kelly.
And it was a bit of an up and down day for Chase Elliott, so dominant in the early goings of this race, and a little bit of a mistake still to rebound and come away with a top 5. How satisfying is that, Chase?
Not at all. 0%. Absolutely failed today. Way too many mistakes on my part. Screwed it up for my guys, and it's absolutely unacceptable. Cannot have that. So apologize to them. Had a great car. Just 100%. I screwed it up.
Do you know why, and did you just lose it mentally, or what was the problem?
I just fell out of the seat, didn't drive right, you name it, I did it.
All right, thanks, Chase.
That was right there what he was referring to. After he had lost the lead, got behind some of the other cars, and then was off track for quite some time. That took a little extra time for him on pit road then to clean the car up.
We called it when this happened. You know, it appeared to me he looked like he got a little frazzled, but I want him to hold his head high. He drove an extremely good race early, and honestly, I fault the crew chief. I felt like everybody that was close to that pit stop window at lap 24 should have come down pit road then. I said it at the time, get your 4 tires on the car and fuel, and then just come back under the green 3 laps later and put fuel only.
Let's go to Mike Massaro.
And Paul Menard climbing from his race car now. Big round of applause, and he's getting showered here in victory lane with, of course, the beverage of Wisconsin. That would be beer. What does this mean to you to pick up this victory in your home state?
Well, I've been really fortunate to win at some of the coolest tracks. You know, Indianapolis, Milwaukee, Road America's right there. They're all tracks that I grew up. And, you know, I spent a lot of time here as a kid riding around ATVs. I got here Thursday night, rode around on ATV, just kind of being nostalgic. So these guys just called a great race. We didn't have the fastest car. We had a really good short run car. Really burned off the rear tires as we ran. But Richmond Menards water heater Chevrolet was fast, and Stockman made a hell of a call at the end.
What was a bigger concern for you in the closing laps? Your fuel mileage or the 22 car in your rearview mirror?
Well, everybody kept dropping off, so I thought they were good with fuel, and Stockman said, you know, we needed 2 laps of caution. We had way more than that. But everybody kept dropping off, and we thought that they were better on fuel than we were. So I was definitely concerned. I was saving as much as I could under caution. But then when we fired off, I just chattered on the left rear tire really bad, and took you know, a couple laps for it to come in. And then, you know, the 22 started burning his stuff up. So I just didn't fire off very good at the end, but it came to us.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Paul Menard takes an off weekend from his Cup Series action, comes to Road America, picks up a victory. He'll celebrate with his family. Dave?
Mike, the driver chasing Paul Menard at the end was Ryan Blaney. Ryan, what was going through your head in those final moments of this race?
You know, first of all, I got to thank Discount Tire and everybody from Team Penske and Ford for doing what they do and let me drive this race car. This was a really fun race for us, even though it was kind of mixed strategies, which is how it always is. But You know, if we wanted to run 6 laps under caution there at the end, he would have run out, and we would have been fine. We played the right strategy, I think, and they just got lucky with them keeping it under caution. So we're not too happy about that, but, you know, what can you do about that? But strong showing by us. This place is so much fun. I love coming here, and hopefully the fans enjoyed it. And I wasn't going to move Paul. Me and him have always raced really well together, and I got a lot of respect for him. So he did a good job, and, you know, congrats to them. But I just can't thank Discount Tire and Ford enough for letting me in.
Ryan, knowing the history of this car in this series, what was it like to run it here today and to come away with a second-place finish?
You know, it's just nice to get in it. They did a great job all day on pit road, and the car drove pretty good all day. We made it progressively better throughout the day, which is all you can ask for under our 2 pit stops. So it just means a lot. Shame we couldn't get to victory lane. We should have been in victory lane the last 2 times this thing's been on the racetrack, but hopefully I'll get another shot here soon.
They were very close. Kelly?
Brian Scott matched his best road course finish with a 3rd place showing here today. So many different strategies, Brian, yet it all comes down to that final restart. How did you make your passes there at the end?
Yeah, just trying to get what we could get. Congratulations to Paul and his team for RCR. That's a great win. Happy for him to get a win here in the Xfinity Series. I felt like we were the 2nd best car, and when the 9 had his issues, I felt like we were the best car. I was pretty frustrated with the officiating at the end of the race. I mean, just the inability to get the race back under green. And we, with fresher tires and good to go on fuel, we needed a longer run there at the end. I think we kind of showed that, us in the 22, kind of marching back up through the field to finish 2nd and 3rd. You know, it's frustrating. There's so many different strategy things that happen here in these races, and it's so hard to be on the right side of them. And it seems like a lot of times we have a really fast car. We had a fast Short Lodge Chevrolet today, and you know, we're stuck with a good finish, but not as good as it could have been. You know, we want to get to victory lane, and that's what we're racing for. We feel like we've had too much bad luck to be in the championship picture. So it's kind of victory lane or nothing. Proud to finish 3rd and happy that an RCR teammate was able to win.
5 straight top 10s for Brian Scott.
Still searching for that first win in the Xfinity Series. Take a look at the results. Paul Menard gets the win. It's his 3rd career Xfinity win. I look down to the 8th place finish by Regan Smith, and I say, amazing. I mean, he was on the restart. He was 23rd with 4 laps to go and ends up finishing in the top 10.
Yeah, that was an incredible drive by him right there. I mean, obviously, we talked about it earlier. This racetrack has so many passing zones that played heavily into his favor with 3 or 4 laps to go.
Yeah, we can see Michael Seff restarted on that front, but still finished 11th. Great day for him.
How about Kenny Habul in 14? Never talked about him all day long. He had all kinds of problems in practice. Obviously solved those problems with the transmission change. Great run for him.
Heartbreak for Blake Cook, finishing 21st after having a shot at a win here. Tommy Dreese finishing 36th, was first off into the gravel pit. Let's hear from Blake Cook. He's with Dave.
And Rick, it looked like it was going to be so much more for Blake. How did the plan go awry?
Well, first off, I got to thank Leaf Filter Gutter Protection. There's a lot of people from their Milwaukee office here. They had a booth set up, signed a bunch of people for free estimates. So I was proud to lead laps for them, and they were here to see it. So it was awesome. Also got to thank Xfinity for everything they do for our series and bring us to this track. But, man, I was going to give it my best shot. We had enough fuel to the end, and that last caution was just saving, shutting it off as much as I could. And one time it just wouldn't fire back up. We had a battery issue, came in, reconnected the battery, I think, or changed the battery. But the guys kept me on the lead lap. My guys worked super hard for me. But it would have been cool to get my best shot there at the end.
How disappointing is it, Blake?
Man, you just gotta learn from your mistakes. This is a team, and we all win together and lose together. So we'll learn from it and move on and try to get better every time we go to the racetrack.
All right, he entertained him for a long time today, Cal.
Bubba Wallace matched his career best finish with a 5th place showing today. Your first time here on this tricky 4-mile road course, Bubba. You were there at the end, but there were a lot of hard chargers. What did you learn out there today?
Ooh, I'm just glad we were able to keep it on the pavement. Seth, he made a gutsy call there, pitting, taking the green, that one restart, and I didn't question it. You know, we had to do something. We were riding around 15th or so, and hey, it ended up getting us a top 5 finish, and that's awesome. We needed that for sure. We've been struggling these last couple races, and a new team starting to build up around that again. So we have to go back to our ovals for the rest of the season. That's good. Go back to Darlington, but I can't be more proud of my guys right now. And what a great call. I'm just kind of still planning it all out, but tough racing there with Chase too. So sorry, Chase.
Thank you, Bubba. Rick?
Let's take a look at the 23 races. That means 10 to go.
For real. Yeah.
16 points in front of Chase Elliott. Those two positions changed. Ty Dillon, 19 points. That was the gap that Chris Buescher had on Ty Dillon when the race started. Well, now Ty Dillon is third, but he's still 19 points away.
Yeah, it's going to be a great battle, you know, and now they can relax. Oh, no, they're going to Darlington. You can't relax, so it's going to be a great battle to the end.
All three of them are thrilled to get out of here with not having a bad day. And even Regan Smith in fourth, he was 51 points back going in. You know, he closed the gap up all but by 1 point.
What an incredible 45 laps from Road America. Got to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll wrap up Road America and get you out to IndyCar qualifying in Sonoma. NASCAR's live on NBC next weekend. Coverage begins next Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern with Xfinity Series racing from Darlington, presented by K&N. And next Sunday, it'll be Sprint Cup Series racing from the Lady in Black. Coming up next, Verizon IndyCar Series qualifying from Sonoma with Paul Tracy, Townsend Bell, and Lee Diffie. Paul Menard wins at Road America. Now, let's head out to Sonoma and Lee Diffie.